bottom here in Georgia, just looking to go out and get some points on the board. Walker, you know, he tends to always get a good start, and if he rolls away with the lead, he's hard to catch. If you can keep him in sight and kind of run with him, that's like my main goal, just get a good start. And I mean, I've run with Walker before. I feel like I could do it again, and you know, I'm looking to get some points today for sure after the upset in Florida.
Can Walker Fowler continue his dominating win from Florida just a week ago? Second and row number 1, the XC1 Pro will be off and rolling here at the Specialized General GNCC. Speaking of Walker Fowler, there is the champ right now and your current leader. Looks like he's opened up that lead quite a bit now, a little more so than what we recognized. Well, no, it was 25 seconds, I guess, at the end of that first lap, is what you're saying. But I swear, when I see them visually on the track, they seem to be so much tighter. But a lot of things can happen in just a short time. Walker Fowler is one of those riders who can get out front. Look at this. He's in the pits right now. Drink, new goggles, and he's off and rolling. .44 lap time last time around for Walker Fowler, and of course 29.55 for Adam McGill. So this shows you how much of a distance there is now between first and second, and there is that four-way battle for the second place position. McGill, Richardson, Forge, and Hart, and those guys really making the run for that second place position as they make the run for the conclusion of lap number 3 out of sight of the pro pits now.
Here he comes for the final time, and he comes across. He's going to get the checkered flag, and he's done it. Walker Fowler out of Rogers, Ohio.
Some champagne, and as Mikey Wayne say, we're going to pop some bottles here, my friends, and spray the bubbly. And of course, first and foremost, we've got sweet spray of champagne. All right, that's got some in my eye there a little bit. They toast each other up here on the podium today. This right here, my friends, your GNCC greats on this podium.
Sheets is your overall and WXC champion. Tracy Pickens is on her way up.
Well, one of our guys started coming to the races about 2 years ago when GNCC started to allow course preview on the e-mountain bikes. So from that point on, it's really taken off for us. And if you just look around here, we've got literally hundreds of people on these bikes, and they're utilizing them to pre-ride the course. The mechanics are using them to access their racers on course. People are just riding around the venue. And finally today we're going to begin racing with the Specialized Turbo e-mountain bike series. So we're extremely happy to be here and really think that we're at the beginning of a whole new sport.
Seventh, the row #1 is SC1 Pro EMTV. Here's the Specialized General GNCC. Make some noise, GNCC Nation! First GNCC MTV bike, and of course, Sweet Spray Champagne.
feeling refreshed. I feel ready to go. I'm really excited about this place. I really enjoy this place. Loved this place growing up. I think we were here way back in the day. I think I maybe raced here on a Mini one time. So been here for a while, and then, you know, last year I had a really good ride here and just couldn't put it together at the end. But, you know, I'm looking to bounce back tomorrow and get that win. And yeah, just Florida wasn't quite where I planned to be. Just a lot of preparation for 2 months to go out and ride around in third. So rebound and go out for that win.
And the good Lord above said differently, as we've got perfect racetrack conditions and we've got perfect temperatures to battle it out for the next 3 hours in this Specialized General GNCC. Who's going to come out on top? The big question, can Stu Baylor back up what he did last week? Will Thad Duvall or Caleb Russell be able to rise to the occasion? Will we have a new player? And row number 1, the XC1 Pro will be off and rolling in our Specialized General GNCC.
Our leaders on screen. Looked like it was Caleb Russell leading the way. I believe it was Stu Baylor in second, Thad Duvall third. All right together as they come by that is leaving the mulch pile. We will see them here at the finish in less than a minute, checking in with 1 lap complete.
Yeah, some Bowens are in and out of the pits. What about Thad? We know that, see, there it is.
He probably put Thad in the lead.
That probably most certainly did. So that pit stop, that strategy paid off. Remember the question you asked, is it strategy? Well, if it wasn't, it sure worked out well for him. Caleb Russell makes his way in now. This will be for, what, lap 5, I believe.
Yeah.
The white flag is out. Well, yep, white flag is out. 1 more lap to go.
Caleb Russell redeeming himself after what many thought was a disappointing performance in Florida. Caleb himself saying he was happy with it. And folks, he does just that. Slaps the number 1 plate. That was a little bit of a statement right there.
Getting ready, and one more time, make some noise for top 3 overall. Thad Duvall, Trevor Bollinger, and Caleb Russell. There goes the spoils of GNCC, the sweet, sweet spray of champagne. We got top amateurs, Brody Johnson, Chase.
Hello and welcome to round number 3 of the AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Series presented by Specialized. Here we are at Morganton, North Carolina for the Steele Creek GNCC. Looks like we're going to be in for a good day of racing. Morganton, Steele Creek always brings out a good crowd. It brings out a good track. Some fast stuff, some gnarly stuff. It's kind of a mix of it all. A lot of people love it, a lot of people hate it, so we'll see who it works in favor for. As far as 2 weekends ago in Washington, Georgia for the general GNCC, we had Caleb Russell coming out on top. He didn't have the race he wanted at round 1, ended up coming home with the 2nd place. We knew he would want to be back up on top of the podium, and that he did in Georgia. But it didn't come easy to him. I know Trevor Bollinger led a lot of the race in Georgia, fell a little bit short, ended up 2nd on the day, but another guy that was knocking on the doorstep for the lead position all day long was what we all expect, Thad Duvall. So I think between those 3 and Stuart Baylor and Strang and a couple other guys, we're going to be in for a good day of racing in XC1. But that's not the only race going on the track.
So we also had some great racing in XC2. We saw Ben Kelly come away with his 2nd win. At the start of this season, everybody anticipated him being on the overall podium.
Yep.
Today may be that day. The way this track's laid out, it could play in his favor. In the 2nd place spot, we had Evan Smith. Once again, good race for him. And Johnny Gerard really putting in a good season this year. It's awesome to see.
Yeah, absolutely. That XC2 class is really mixing it up. It's going to take a lot to get in front of Ben Kelly, but who knows? This place is known for big upsets and stuff like that, so we could be in for a good day of racing. One more pro class that we have in the afternoon bike race is XC3, the FMF XC3 class. All 125s out there, and they absolutely shred. But Jesse Ansley came away with the win in round number 1 in Florida. But in round number 2, we had Cody Barnes on his Beta come away with the win. So going to be interesting to see. I know a couple other guys are shooting for a win in XC3, so be interesting to see who comes out on top today.
Thanks, Landon. Let's throw it down to Bolton for a track description.
Oh, hey guys. We're up here at the phone booth for this week's Yamaha track description. And what a great track this is. We call this the phone booth because this is the only place at Steele Creek you can get cell service. So that means when you're down here watching the racing, you don't need cell phones. You're focused on the racing. And it's going to be some great racing. We call this a classic cross-country race course. There's big uphills, there's steep downhills. You have to carry your momentum up that hill and be hard on the brakes coming down the other side. We've also got sand, we've got red dirt, we've got creek crossings. That sand I mentioned, yeah, that's definitely unique when you get up in the mountains, but you got that here at Steele Creek. There's a reason so many people show up to this racetrack. It's a beautiful place and it's tons of fun. It's got to be some great racing. That's this week's Yamaha track description. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Bolton. Looks like a gnarly track today. Can't wait to see how it all unfolds.
Yeah, it sure does. Looks like it's going to be a good day of racing. That's it for us here. Let's head on down to Rodney at the starting line.
Thanks a lot, guys. Down here on the starting line now as we get ready to roll into what could be another historic day of racing here at the FMF Steele Creek GNCC. Got Trevor Bollinger here with us. And, of course, speaking of history, he's made history here so many times. Made his mark in GNCC the first time right here in the Open A class as top amateur. Of course, got his first win in the XC2 Pro Am class right here at Steele Creek. Got his first podium in XC1 class racing right here at Steele Creek. And today, he's hoping to get his first win. I tell you, Trevor, the way things have been going, brother, it looks like we may be in store for something like that, especially after the ride you had a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I sure hope so. You know, the track, we got a little rain last night, and the track looks like it's shaped up to be good. And I'm looking forward to getting out there and racing with these boys and see if we can put her on the top step at the end of the day.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll find out whether or not he's able to do that in about 3 hours. But right now, let's meet our starting lineup. And rolling to the line first today here in the XC1 Pro Class at the FMF Steele Creek GNCC. Riding aboard the number 1, hailing from Boonville, North Carolina on an FMF KTM factory racing machine, Caleb Russell. Rolling to the line second today in points, he rides aboard the 514, winning the opening round in the sands of Florida from Hodges, South Carolina on a Teely Energy Racing KTM, Stu Baylor. Rolling to the line today, third in points. He won here 1 year ago. Riding aboard the number 989 from Williamstown, West Virginia on a Rockstar Energy Factory Husqvarna Racing Husky, Thad Duval. Rolling to the line today, fourth in points, the hometown hero. Aboard the number 739 from right here in Morganton, North Carolina on a Rockstar Energy Factory Husqvarna Racing Husky, Trevor Bollinger. Up next aboard the 114 from Australia and North Carolina on a Babbitt's Online Monster Energy Kawasaki, Josh Strang. He is sixth in points, riding aboard the number 206, the rookie in the XC1 Pro class from Winsted, New York on an FMF KTM factory racing machine, Josh Toad. Riding aboard the number 410, currently ranked 7th in points from Birdsboro, Pennsylvania on a Phoenix Honda Racing Honda, Andrew DeLong. 8th in points, riding aboard the 127 from Livingston, Tennessee on a Babbitt's Online Monster Energy Kawasaki, Jordan Ashburn. Back with us for a second consecutive week, riding for the injured Ricky Russell aboard the 121 from Logan, Ohio, an Am-Pro Yamaha, Corey Buttrick. And last and certainly not least, welcoming back to the GNCC Racing Nation, riding aboard the 523, his first race of 2019 from Boonville, North Carolina, Husqvarna, Amsoil, and FXR-backed Lane Michael. And that, ladies and gentlemen, your starting lineup for this FMF Steele Creek GNCC. As we look out over the masses here today, we have seen huge crowds of riders, 310 on the racetrack right now, over 650 riders on the racetrack this morning. We had about 650 ATV riders yesterday. We had another 150 motorcycles this morning with the youth riders. So yeah, we've got some good things going on here in North Carolina, and of course the race fans are out full force, began rolling into this place early Thursday morning, and of course we are at full capacity here in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains, and of course with that too, we are at full capacity nearly on that racetrack, and full capacity of ready to make this thing happen today here for round number 3. Rain showers last night fell about 3 o'clock this morning for about a half hour, and then they started again about 6:30, a light shower, which ultimately made this race course perfect as far as conditions are concerned. And of course, we want to take this opportunity to welcome our North Carolina State Treasurer and Grand Marshal of GNCC Racing. Of course, 1 minute before we go, Dale Falwell in the house. And we'll be bringing him up to assist in just a few moments with our 10-second call. But right now, we're going to get things rolling with this XC1 Pro class. And all attention turning to Ricky Towery now as anticipation begins to build. And that blue flag will be coming out here in just mere moments. Shut them down, guys. Shut them down. Shut them down. Shut them down. We are now less than 30 seconds away from going racing here in North Carolina. And I got to ask you, North Carolina race fans, are you ready to go GNCC Racing? Pretty good, but I got to say, I think you're more ready than that. Let's try it one more time. North Carolina, are you ready to go GNCC Racing? 10 seconds. And road number 1, the XC1 Pro, will be off and rolling at this FMF Steele Creek GNCC. And they're off. Jordan Ashburn, a great start. A little bobble there, nearly goes down, but it's Caleb Russell threading the needle to take over the early lead. It is Ashburn followed by Duvall. Now Duvall trying to thread the needle, and there is the hometown boy in 4th place.
That is Trevor Bollinger, the 739 XC2 250 Pro coming up next. We got Ryder Lampney, Austin Lee, Liam Draper, Philip Cheney, Mike Wachowski, Ben Parsons, Alex Teagarden, Scott Grills, Evan Smith, Ryder Heacock, Will Colley, JoJo Bowden, Tegan Temple, Benjamin Kelly, Joseph Barrero, Matthew Keeper, Samuel Evans, Zach Hayes, Hunter Newer, Trevor Barrett, Jonathan Gerard, and Jonathan Johnson ready to roll. And our Grand Marshal, Mr. Dale Falwell, lets us know 10 seconds. And that was the North Carolina State Treasurer, Dale Falwell, who raced earlier this morning, in the Masters VC class. Right now, though, look at this. We've got a mad dash to the hole shot stripe, and it's going to be the #1 machine of Ben Kelly taking the early lead in this one. Down to the FMF XC3 class now. This is the 125 Pro-Ams. We got Joe Marsh, Jason Thomas, Logan Lowry, Hayden Hefner, Michael Beeler, Chase Colville, Jesse Ansley, Talon Sokinson, Jake Froman, and Cody Barnes all ready to roll on Ricky Towery's next cue as he lets these riders know 10 seconds. Oh, look at this. Another drag race to that first turn. Folks trying to get it sorted out. It's another #1. It's the 111 this time around of Jason Thomas from Wales on the Highland Temp Works Off-Road Racing School's Max's back machine. 258 class coming up next. Simon Johnson, Chase Hayes, Owen Geis, Ryder LeBlanc, Michael DeLosa, Robert Whitlock, Caleb Carter, Dylan Dela Cruz, Brody Johnson, Matthew Davis, Benjamin Wright. 10 seconds. Bolton DeRock, R.J. Cook, Alex Luger, Devin Welch, Brian DeSalt, Brendan Poling, Trevor Getz, also Tyler Braniff, George Kowalski, Hayden Earhart, Josh Farrell, Cole Whitmer, Dakota DeFord, Nicholas Cordana, Andrew Gross, Paul Petrin, Tristan Landrum, Bryce Coster all rounding the first turn. It's a fine 13 out front. Cole Whitmer, I believe, getting the whole shot in that one. As we go to the Open A bike class now, Ricky Towery settling this next row down. 32 riders ready to roll in 10 seconds. Zach Tussle, Nick O'Brien, Levi Keller, Matt Kerbin, Dylan Ely, Joshua Lee, Josh Murphy, Evan Earl, Jeremy Lanthier, Eric Guys, Corey Purphy, Brad Gostovich, also Noah Clark, Mark Teresco, Gary Greer, Devin Pomaniski, Jake Hines, Justin Meads, Nicholas Swinson, Justin Leonard, Brady Myers, Zach Hugel, Jacob Barnes, and your early leader, 221 of James Murphy from Granville, Massachusetts. Also Jacob Barnes, Cope Becker, Levi Cagle, Jason Lipscomb, Harrison Helmick, Landon Bruner, Alex Baroff, Brandon Moore, and Brock Cagle all on the line there in the Open A class. Up next, 200A. We got Sean Myers, Tyler Centrino, Zachary Davidson. 10 seconds. Logan Kiddick, Max Fernandez, Randall Urban, Elliott Key, and Dylan Zimple. Another mad dash to that first turn right now as folks are trying to get it all sorted out, and it's going to be the 490. That's Max Fernandez from Ottsville, Pennsylvania on a Mile High Cycles Shapers Motorsports Fly Racing machine. 4-stroke 8 lights coming up next. Braxton McGee, Jacob Chrisman, Gatlin Welburn, Tyler Soriano, Derek Mabey, Travis Renaud, Justin Murphy, Eli Childers. Less than 10 seconds to go now for Blake Grindstep, Alan Hollenkamp, Hunter Williams, Russell Smith, Johnny Manera, Kendall Lafollette, Mitchell Owenby, Hayden Dillon, Nathan Rector, Ian Flynn, Grant Faint, Trevor Bailey, Trail Henderson, Tanner Cowart, Nathan Davis, Dylan Carano, Cole Johnson, Frederick Blue, Nick Stewart, Jake Easler, Mac Reimer, and it's the 130 of Travis Renaud from Stafford, Missouri on a Yarborough Industries Marionville Power Sports Answer back machine. Senior A 40 plus class. Frank Messina, Shotgun, Sean Remington, Frank Tussle, John Beaver, Gregory Richardson, Bob Berkman, Josh Hackett, Scott Abels, Jeff Houston, Ken Anderson. 10 seconds. Christian Brumbaugh, Bo Hamlet, John Leonard, Larry Sylvia, Jeremy Dexter, and Jason Stickley. Rounding that first turn, the big 5-0 of Frank Messina from Campbell Hall, New York on a P27 off-road Trail Jesters Racing Tucker Rocky machine. Junior AB 25-plus class, Andrew Boggs, Dustin Ulrich, Jesse Kidlow, Andrew Matusik, Matt Bruffy, Bailey Parker, Tyler Brunton, Benjamin Lee, Landon Smith, Damon Rummel, Joe Dean, Peter Nickel, Joseph McCarty, Brian Linker, Kevin Manuels, Eric Manuels, Clayton Campbell, Wheelie Brownell, and Sammy Doris in 10 seconds. That first turn really tricky for these riders. They try to get it sorted out. It's the 378 on his helmet. Benjamin Lee from Madisonville, Tennessee on a Litz Racing FMF Kinderback machine. That 830-plus class, Sam Forrester, Ben Conaway, Louis Oleon, Miquiz Gomez, Shirley Amancio, Nicholas Nyman, Nathan Allering, BJ Baritska, Luenzo Sanchez, also Matthew Teague, Buddy Barnes, Joshua Wyatt, Brandon Peterson, Jacob Dennis. 10 seconds. Steve Lambruno, Brent Beatty, Kyle Dangler, Matt Modick, Bill Zavindi, and Joselian Ramos. All right, 48, Sam Forrester out of Elkton, Maryland on a Cherry Hill Cycleback KTM, grabbing the early lead as we go to the Senior B. Gene Swidla, Wes Morris, Leon Winover, Andrew Malloy, Chapman Heartbreaker, Igor Soares, also Mike Horwat, Jason Wilson, Adam Miller, Jason Rutland, Jeff Galbraith, Darren Darmos, and Scott Matheny. Ready to roll next in 10 seconds. All right, 714 on the bike. I don't have that number listed, so we'll see who that is when he gets a little closer on the helmet tag. Whoa, mercy, 379. Igor Torres from Marlborough, Massachusetts. Four-stroke B lights, Alexander Patterson, also Wyatt Kiesler, Drew Doran, Bryce Altkire, Ryan Piper, Mike Howerton, Corey Schaefer. 10 seconds. Corey Mahalik, Andrew Van Atta, Hunter Cleveland, Daniel Reddick, Tyler Daniels, Charles Scott, Cody Reese, Franklin Brown, Tyler Palmer, Mitch Goldfarb, Ethan Schultz, Cole Henderson, and Anthony Powers. Four-stroke V lights around that first turn now. 1-2-2 on the machine, and it's 446 on his helmet. That's Tyler Palmer from Denver, North Carolina, taking the early lead in this one as we go next to the 250B class. Kyle Prismont, Corey Wagner, Garrett Orbister, Austin Hovatter, Buggy Funk, Philip Dagnes, also Landon Ray, Connor Jenkins, JP Balzer. 10 seconds. Cody Smith, Dakota Chalmers, also Alan Noetling, Cody Deluce, Jesse Groves, Warren Friend, Bradley Chapman, Ty Calloway, Jeffrey Snooper, Dylan Gore, Trey Piercy, James McElvay, Austin Kimsey, Tyler Gentry, Gatlin Combs, Jake Lale, and Chase Pollard. Woo! Gets pushed out way wide. We got some going down, but we got the 4, 5, 7 thread needles and taking the early lead. That is Dylan Gore from Chapmanville, West Virginia on a Spy Dunlop, a Cherby's back machine. 200B class, Max Russ, Dominic Valora, Gino Bonacci, Trent Cather, Tanner Collins, also Colby Dunham, Patrick Murphy, and Ezra Judd. 10 seconds. Gino Bonacci West Mifflin, PA, LoJack's Moose Racing. Micah, good jump, but it's going to be the 219 crossing the stripe first. That's Max Russ from Iron Station, North Carolina on an FXR back KTM. Got that V30 Plus, Larry Hopper. Also Ross Kennedy, Clinton Fryer, Davison Goulart, Rodrigo Damos, Nick Plank, Gary Basang. 10 seconds. William O'Brien, Kyle Madison, Michael Schwartz, Jeff Simmons, Sam Bishop, Drew Gorey, Justin Miller, Robert Johnson, Tyler Carr, Ian Troublefield, Ernie Martin, Christopher Wagner, Travis Bean, Andrew Thrall, Scott Height, Robert Creel, Corey Corsi, Justin Johnson, Justin Mason, and Mattias Camilo. .927, Justin Mason from Bolt, West Virginia on a Yamaha, taking the lead. Open B class, Matt Swords, Jacob Harmon, Justin Brazou, Peyton Hart, Justin Gibbs, Joshua Winkler, Jeremiah Spicer, Brandon Boyers, Dakota Turner, Andrew Hollenkamp, Brendan Bishop. Also looking at Hunter Barron, Dustin Stanley, Jared Miranda. 10 seconds. Craig Oberholzer, Dylan Turner, Colton Hawk, Aaron Waltrop, Michael Modick, Jared Messer, and Joshua Webb. Open B off and rolling. And at the whole stripe 5-3-1 of Dylan Turner from Mills Spring, North Carolina, going to snag the early lead in this one. And that's going to wrap the starts up here for this 1 o'clock race here on a Sunday at the FMF Steele Creek GNCC. Well, folks, I'll tell you what, we certainly got a lot of things up in the air. Of course, we got guys that want to take wins here for the first time, guys that want to keep points lead, guys that want to repeat, and, well, like we said, one rider who wants to make a first. Can the 739 of Trevor Bollinger do another first in front of the hometown crowd? Stick around. GNCC Live continues right after this.
Consistent clutch fuel is vital to effective starts or to confidently maneuver around obstacles on the trail. AMSOIL synthetic dirt bike oil was subjected to an extreme simulated start test. After 32 simulated race starts, AMSOIL synthetic dirt bike oil continued to deliver consistent clutch feel, and the clutch plates remained clean with no visible wear. The competitor's oil, however, allowed discoloration and significant wear after just 6.
Speed has its price. Fortunately, it's super affordable. The Specialized Speed into Spring Sale with up to 40% off March 15th through 31st. The faster you visit your local Specialized dealer, the faster you ride. All-new Yamaha Wolverine X2. With a compact chassis perfect for exploring tight technical terrain. An ultra-quiet and smooth 850 class twin-cylinder engine. And next-level versatility with a 600-pound dumping cargo bed. No other side-by-side delivers this level of proven off-road performance. The all-new Wolverine X2 from Yamaha.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Chematic Gaskets seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Chematic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best. Chematic Gaskets are constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environment. Whether it's championships on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts depend on Chematic. Chematic Gaskets, sealing championships since 1989.
This Racer TV broadcast is brought to you by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. Specialized Turbo e-bikes. It's you, only faster.
and by Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready.
And welcome back to GNCC Live. Rodney Tomlin here as we come to you from the FMF Steele Creek GNCC in Morganton, North Carolina. It's the beautiful foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains and, of course, beautiful Burke County, as this race has become quite a tradition here, some 20 years strong in this very valley and amongst all these wonderful mountains. And wow, what a folklore we've got to tell here, as these mountains, if they could speak, they would say quite a bit, no doubt. And they have, over the years, I believe, played a lot of roles and a lot of things that have taken place here, as this is probably one of the most storied GNCCs on the circuit. And of course, with that, I know that a lot of riders are anticipating coming into this one, as we had some great stories from last year leading into this one. We've got some pretty good ones as well. Let's check in to see what some of the riders had to say as we rolled in to this 20th anniversary.
It's either really bad or really good, so hopefully we've changed this the last couple years and have some good rides, and was able to get the win last year. So just, yeah, have some fun today, and I think the track's going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to it for sure.
We came a long way since then, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the day. I felt like in Georgia I let one get away from me, but you know that's part of racing, and you know, hopefully we can try to fight for the win here for all these fans that come out and see me race.
Yeah, definitely. You know, Steele Creek's one of the locals for me. You know, it's a couple hours away, and very familiar terrain. It's like the Mid-East that I grew up racing, and you know, like you said, I've been here. I guess it's like my 14th or 15th year running this track, and not much has changed. You know, it's about the same track every year, and the only thing that grows is the fans. And you know, obviously, you look back, and I've watched the 2001 videos when Watsy was winning, and right here where we're standing was a grass track, and there was like 50 vehicles in the parking lot. And now, you know, not even 20 years later, you can't find a place to park if you're lucky.
I like being in the mountains, and I've always enjoyed this track, and looking forward to a solid day.
Talk a little bit about how this place has treated you in the past.
It's been good. You know, I've always rode pretty decent here. Never made the podium, but we're looking for the first one today.
It's good. This has always been one of my favorites. It's usually one of the scarier tracks as far as there's consequences here. Like if you go down, you're going down hard. But it's kind of similar to home, you know. It's got some big bumps. It's got really good dirt, and it looks like it's going to be pretty ruddy now after getting that rain. So, yeah, it's always one of my favorites.
Yesterday I was actually a little bit dry, so riding the track, I was surprised. Like, I'm about an hour away, and we had a bunch of rain over the winter, so I honestly thought this place being up in the hills would be a little wetter than what it was yesterday. But we got, I think, a little bit of rain overnight, and it probably did the track good, you know. So I think this place brings a lot of riders. The morning race, I'm sure there's a ton of them, so they'll knock off all the slime and slop for us, and by the time we get racing, it'll be the dirt should be good and the track should be fun.
And there it is, folks. Welcome back to Racer TV Live from the from the FMF Steele Creek GNCC, here for round 3 of the 2019 GNCC series in Morganton, North Carolina. We have just started our afternoon pro bike race, 3 hours in length for this one. We are about 3/4 of the way through the first lap, and here we see Caleb Russell leading the way, just on cue, on screen. He is down. That section there is actually quite a bit further into the track than I would have expected them to be at this point, but second, so that is the 8.5-mile marker. Thad Duvall there, hot on his heels in second, and those guys were right up front from the get-go. We saw, it seemed a lot of our front runners got to the front right off the start. There we see, looks like Josh Strang on camera, Andrew DeLong there, and a couple of other XC1 riders working their way through the shot there. Our front runners in the XC1 and XC2 class right off the start, it seems like our points leaders got right to the front and were able to come away with the whole shots in both of those classes. And here we see, look at this, another number 1. Folks, you are not seeing double. That is the other number 1. FMF KTM of Ben Kelly from that XC2 Pro Lights class, and holy moly, he is well up into the XC1 class, and on corrected time, he is going to be one to watch today for that overall possible podium position, or who knows, maybe even better. So that adds another storyline to the already dramatic start we've seen here to this FMF Steele Creek GNCC. Racing action has been hot and heavy. You guys got to watch all of the starts live, and a few other times on camera you have been able to see a number of the riders coming through, but here are the leaders again at the 8.5-mile marker. The riders, obviously you just watched through those interviews pre-race. Everybody seeming to be pretty optimistic. Let's just check in here, folks. We have not seen second place yet in the XC2 Pro Lights class, and I believe we have him here, and it is the 282 Beta of Mike Witkowski. So he trains and lives here locally this time of year, but this is a great ride for him in early second. It looks like he is stretched out over his nearest competition, but still a long road to hoe if he wants to get up there and battle with that number 1 of Ben Kelly. Ben Kelly setting an absolutely torrid pace here early, and a close battle up front in that XC1 Pro class. Here is our second place rider in XC2. That is third place, 347 of Evan Smith. Smith has really been on rails early in the season, battling for podiums in both of our races thus far. That was the 198 of Liam Draper in fourth. So that is your top 4, and now here comes the rest of XC2. Folks, we're going to let you pick them out because there's so many of them. Looks like I think I saw the 300 of Ben Parsons there. The usual front runners that we're going to see up inside the top 10, that was those guys there. We'll check in. They'll be coming to the finish line here in about another 5 miles. Actually, about another 4 miles. We'll see them check in at the finish. There is the 717 of Sam Evans. These guys all within the top 10 of that XC2 Pro Lights class. This is an interesting section here. It's actually a two-way. On this side of the string, we can see those guys heading back up the hill, but they'll be going the other way. We may have them from this same camera shot. Again, this is the 7.5-mile marker, but about 3 miles earlier, probably around about the 4.5 or so, they come down that hill where you see those CST Tires banners. And here is your leader in the XC3 Pro Lights class, the 111 of Jason Thomas, the champ train. He is out front early. He grabbed the early lead, and I believe the whole shot in this one. Last we saw, the number 1 of Jesse Ansley was hot on his heels, and I think that may be him. There he is right there. The number 1, last year's defending XC3 Pro-Am champion of Jesse Ansley in second, but Jason Thomas putting the whooping on him here early. So we'll see if he can maintain that pace. I know he's really been looking to make a statement so far here at the beginning of this season. Here we have some more of our XC2 and XC3 riders working their way past the camera shot here at mile marker 7.5. It seems to be that things here early, the track is shaping up absolutely beautifully. We had some rain overnight. Yesterday things were a little bit dry, but Mother Nature stepped in, gave us a little bit of water, and said, here's some perfect conditions for racing, and racing is what we see. Caleb Russell hard on the throttle and up that climb there. Wow, Rodney, these guys are pushing the pace early. Thad Duvall in second, and the local, I believe that was Bollinger in third. Bollinger third. That was fourth place was Ashburn. Fifth place, Josh Toth. So that's your top 5 as they head up there. I believe that is round about the 9-mile marker. There is Josh Strang. That appeared to be Andrew DeLong, Corey Buttrick, and Lane Michael. So those guys all running within or near the top 10 in that XC1 Pro class. And Rodney, I don't know if you've been following this, but watch the camera here. What we're going to see next is the number 1 FMF KTM. And folks, they're not giving us a heads up. We just know he's coming. There he is. He is tracked down nearly to the back of the lead pack in the XC1 Pro class, only 9 miles into this race.
Wow, that's insane if you think about it. I mean, this kid is just on fire. And, I talked to him earlier during pre-race reports, and that was one thing he said, my main focus to win the XC2, and then after that is to try to do as well as I can in the overall. Main goal is to eventually win the overall from Road 2. He wants to be that historical rider, the first one to ever do it on the two-wheel side of things.
Absolutely, and that's quite a benchmark. So close, so many times, so many riders.
I'll tell you, riding like this today, man, he's getting closer, there's no doubt.
Yeah, and folks at home, if you're following along here, obviously, everybody's pulling for their own rider in XC1 or XC2. We're not trying to hand Ben Kelly any overalls or even any XC2 wins. But you can't help but sit back and say, wow, when you see someone riding like this. Here is Mike Witkowski. Tell you what, he may have actually chopped into that lead a little bit on Ben Kelly. I think it was a little bit longer when we saw him at the 7.5, so Witkowski hard on the throttle, the 282 Beta machine, and man, he looked like he was really hard on the gas and trying to chase down that number 1. He is not happy in second.
No, and there's a big sense of urgency. We saw those front 4 that went through there at the beginning of the race. Caleb got the whole shot. You had, was it Thad? You had Trevor was back there also, and there was one other rider.
Jordan Ashburn.
Jordan Ashburn, the Kawasaki rider. He's dropped off the 4th place we saw there a few moments ago. But, yeah, those guys, those front 4, man, when they took off, there was a sense of urgency. When they went around turn 2 and headed into turn 3, it was very obvious that those 4 really had something that they wanted to pour out to this racetrack today. And I think that we've got some pretty exciting things to happen before still this is all said and done. And we're a long ways away. A 3-hour race is what we're looking at here today. And with that, the stage is only beginning to be set. We're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of 27 minutes now as we roll through this first lap of racing. Joined in booth now by the rough and rowdy one, Ricky Russell, as he makes his way in from Ampro Yamaha and off the start. Ricky, we want to welcome you back to GNCC Racing, brother. I wish you were out there on the course, but we understand that just can't be the case right now.
Yeah, no doubt. It's a little bit different sitting here watching, but it's kind of cool. I'm glad to be here and kind of support my team a little bit and kind of see how things are playing out.
That's great, man, and to be that supportive of your team. I mean, you can be sitting at home in Washington right now. We're down in the pits right now. Looks like leaders are going through. No pit stops just yet. It doesn't appear.
Caleb Russell still leading the way. Thad Duvall second. 3rd place, Trevor Bollinger. 4th place, Jordan Ashburn. 5th place, Josh Toast. So just as we saw him last, looks like 6th there, Stu Baylor. We missed him the last time. So 6th is Stu Baylor. 7th, Josh Strang. 8th, Andrew DeLong. 9th, Lane Michael. And 10th place, Corey Buttrick is how it looked to be played out there on screen.
Wow, that's, and those guys have been going at it this entire lap. We got that kind of little breakaway, and it's not really much of a breakaway. Between the front 4 or 5 or so. Stu Baylor only 6 seconds off the pace of those guys right now aboard that 514.
Rodney, watch your
screen.
Number
1 of Josh Toth making his way in, or Ben Kelly, sorry.
No question. This guy's got the overall right now.
I don't doubt that a bit. He has to be well within that minute. I know that Caleb has already checked in. He turned a 27:35 lap time. Thad Duvall a 27:38 and a 27:39 for Trevor Bollinger. And about any time now, we should be seeing that rider check in. And where does he check in? He's 5th place overall.
I was over by the 9-mile marker, and I thought Ben was well in the overall. So well, something happened.
Well, that could be the case. And you got to realize, too, I know you work on a minute, but we got to go off of official timing. It could have been 1 minute and 10 seconds that they started. It could have been 58 seconds or something like that. So that's what we really work off. We just generalize 1 minute is what we look at.
And sometimes what you see on screen, seconds can tick by and seem like hours, and minutes can seem by in seconds. And so it's the only thing you can trust is a clock, and official timing and scoring doesn't lie. I was ready to hand him the number 1 right there.
Well, I mean, let's look at it. Let's see how far out. I mean, on the lap, we have a 27:35 by Russell. That's the lead position right now. A 27:45. He's only 10 seconds off pace. So when you think about it, he very well could have been well within that minute, Ricky, when you saw him at the 9-mile marker. But as we all well know, things happen, and these courses have tricky scenarios that can jump up and change things real quick.
No, for sure. He could have maybe just had a little mistake or something. But like I said, he was well in front of all the XC2s, which he whole-shotted the XC2 wave. For anyone else on that wave, that's a bad thing for the number 1 guy to be out front already. So.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, not only is it tough to track him down, but it also becomes, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but a little bit demoralizing because, you already know the guy's fast. He's got the number 1 plate. Then when he starts stretching it out like that, you kind of can play a mind game on you. If you're good with that kind of mind game, you can turn that around and use it for fuel.
Yeah, 100%. Same thing for the XC1 wave. Caleb, you don't like Caleb up front, and he just got the whole shot. So up front, he's setting the pace, and he's a hard guy to stick with his pace.
Well, one thing about Caleb Russell's pace, there is Caleb Russell now. This is out near the Monster Mile. I think this is 1.5 mile marker, and with that, he's not got the gaps that in comfort zone. There is no room for breathing out here right now. We've been used to seeing a breakaway a little bit of Thad and Caleb, but now we've got 4 riders right now that are virtually nose to tail.
I think one rider that we're going to see a little bit of extra spunk from today, not that we didn't see probably the best he had to give at our last race in Georgia, but Trevor Bollinger, hometown boy, can't talk enough about it, folks. If you don't want to hear about it, turn off your sound because we're going to talk about it a lot today. Trevor Bollinger, GNCC, born and raised right here from Morganton, North Carolina, started his career here. How epic would it be if he got his first win here today?
Well, like we were saying in the opening ceremonies, he got his we got his notice here in the Open A class, his first ever overall amateur. Got his first ever win as an XC2 pro rider right here. Got his first XC1 pro podium right here, and he's hoping to be able to cap that off today with his first ever XC1 pro class win.
If you look at the progression of things, it's the only thing left, right?
That's it.
And if he's had all of his other firsts here,
this was the place for it to happen.
He
or for him to do
year.
it. This would be here for sure. I was racing him in XC2 2014, and that was his first win. I got second. He won XC2 that year, and yeah, it was. He's got the hometown crew here. He definitely has a lot of huge fan base here.
And so basically, I mean, you're racing the elements, you're racing this, and you're racing that, and you're also racing the crowd. Not
sure.
technically.
No, they amp you up though. They definitely do. Every time you see crowd or the fans on the side giving you a fist pump, it does make you go a little faster, surprisingly.
Yeah, and especially when you know they're there for you specifically.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's that great inspiration that you're looking for there. So here we are checking in with some more riders. As we said, Ben Kelly listed at 5th place overall after time adjustments. He's only 10 seconds out of first place overall adjusted time from Caleb Russell. Thad Duvall against second, Bollinger in third, Ashburn in fourth. Now, as we look at time adjustments, Josh Toth is 6th overall. He's running physically 5th on the racetrack. Stu Baylor is 7th overall. 8th overall is Josh Strang. 9th overall, Andrew DeLong and Lane Michael. His first race back rounds out your top 10 overall right now. And 10th in class and 11th overall is Corey Buttrick on your Yamaha there.
Yeah, it looks like they're all kind of close. The top guys are getting away, definitely. So you better kick it butt and get back with them guys.
Well, as we look a little further into the XC2 250 Pro Class, Mike Wachowski is checking in the 12th place overall, and Evan Smith, who is 3rd in the class right now, is 13th overall. Liam Draper, 4th in the XC2 class, is 14th overall, and Jonathan Girard out of Southwick, Massachusetts, 5th in class, 15th overall right now from that XC2 250 class. Also, just notables, Jason Thomas leading the FMF XC3 125 class, the 111 machine out of Wales, and he is currently running an 18th place overall. Cody Barnes, who took the win at the last round in Georgia, the 99 from Sterling, Illinois, is running in the 19th place overall, 2nd in class. And you got to wonder, where is Jesse Ansley? He had a pretty rough race, and talking with him this morning, man, he doesn't take that very easily. That loss that whole day, I mean, wow. I mean, the kid really took that one hard, it seemed like.
Yeah, Jesse's a rider that wears his heart on his sleeve, and he's taken racing seriously for so long. He comes from a very focused and driven and disciplined family. With his grandmother and grandfather and his parents as well, and the way they brought him up, and he was hard on himself and apologetic to his team, even though it was ultimately some mechanical issues that he was experiencing. So as good as it is to see him kind of taking accountability, sometimes you got to just understand that things like that happen. That's racing. You regroup, you come out swinging. So hopefully he can rebound today and basically put himself back where he needs to be battling for top position.
And that's the one thing that he has to remember. It wasn't performance problems that he had in Georgia by no stretch of the imagination. We currently see Jesse in the number 4 spot of the FMF XC3 125 Pro-Am class. Jake Froman is running 5th, Logan Lowry 6th, Chase Colville 7th, and Joe Marsh back in the 8th place position. As we look at the time right now, he's 3 seconds, Ansley's 3 seconds behind Beeler, who is your 3rd place ride. He's 13 seconds behind Barnes and Thomas, basically. So in theory right now, Jesse's only 15 seconds from the front of the pack, but we're not necessarily used to seeing Jesse there. He's not used to being there. We'll see if he can overcome what happened 2 weeks ago and push through that mentally and get back on track physically the way that we know he can ride, and he knows he can ride ultimately.
Yeah, it's always tough to rebound from a bad race, but I think if you look at some of the best riders we've seen in this sport and across different genres of racing in general, specifically motorcycles, ATVs, and even car racing, sometimes when you have a bad race like that, You have to kind of regroup, refocus, grab yourself by the bootstraps, pick yourself up, and have another go at it. And I think that's exactly what Jesse Ansley's looking to do today. We've seen so many riders that they come out, they have a bad race, they overthink it, and next thing you know, it kind of turns into a downward trend in their results and their riding. I don't think we'll see that out of Jesse. Hopefully, he's surrounded by a whole lot of good people,
Yeah, I think
they'll keep him focused.
I think you're right, Johnny. I'm on the same page with you on that. But right now in the early part of the race, I got to wonder if that might be what's going on. But, hey, anything can happen in these races. I mean, it takes a while to settle into pace sometime. And we're going to take a real quick look at our track map as we check out where our riders are rolling through this FMF Steele Creek GNCC. We also welcome our North Carolina State Treasurer and, of course, GNCC faithful rider in the Masters BC class, Dale Falwell, here with us. As you take a look at the racetrack here, the 1 p.m. bike race, a 12-mile course today, as these riders are traversing some of the toughest conditions that they can find here at Steele Creek. And one good thing to note about it is that as tough of conditions as they can find, Mother Nature has been good to us, so the weather conditions aren't really causing any issues out there. But there you see how the trails are laid out. And if you look at that map on the elevation changes, there's quite a bit of elevation change. And one guy that can attest to that is our GNCC Grand Marshal here this weekend at the FMF Steele Creek GNCC, talking about Dale Falwell, as we mentioned, North Carolina State Treasurer. Dale, welcome back to GNCC and GNCC Live.
Well, thank you for having me. It was a great course today, and it's been a big 7 days for North Carolina for outdoor cross-country racing. Last week there was a Mid-East and a North Carolina Hare Scramble here in the same county, and now we have this fantastic event with the GNCC Racing Nation, and it's just a big economic boom to this area, and everybody loves coming here.
Yeah, I know. I went to some of the local markets in town last night down in Morganton, and we noted, we were like, wow, this place looks to be wiped out. I mean, they still had some stuff on the shelves and stuff, but, man, there were some big dents in it. And when you look at this campground, this facility from an aerial view, you get to find out why. I mean, this place is jam-packed. I think we're filled to capacity as far as people in this place. I'm sure people will figure out a way to some room to get in here, but man, it is tight. There is no doubt. And like you say, the economic effects that GNCC racing can bring to community, being the state treasurer and everything. That's good for the local community, and in turn, it's good for the state as well.
Well, it's good for everybody, and it's also good for families. I mean, you cannot watch this broadcast without looking at families interacting with each other. Throwing rocks, taking little toys and using them in the mud. They're not on their handheld devices because they don't work.
Exactly.
So this is what families used to be. Sitting on lawn chairs, talking, and conversing. And so it's not just about the racers. It's not about the great organization that GNCC brings to Morganton every year, but it's also about this is a destination for families. They look forward to this.
20th running, our 19 years, 20th running of this FMF Steele Creek GNCC. Obviously, it has become a huge thing. And there's, family, got the family with the fur babies out this evening, or this afternoon. Dale, being in the, it's hard to believe, you don't often see people in your position that are at such grass level roots of living. I mean, most of the time, you've got your social circles you run in and your political things, but you're not so much like that. I mean, you're a real true North Carolinian, I believe, and a part of the GNCC Racing Nation. We talk about you here mainly, but I read your name at many other races. You are seriously a competitor in the Masters BC 50-plus class, right?
Well, I am. I was national champion 5 years ago, and not doing pretty well this year, but it seems like when these guys are getting older, the competition's getting tougher. It's just they're defying logic, but it's incredible what goes on here. And I spent a third of my life as a blue collar worker. Everybody that kept me out of trouble in the 70s, it had something to do with motorcycling. Everything that I do every day as the state treasurer of North Carolina, I use skills that I learned as a motorcycle racer or a motorcycle mechanic, and then of course there's motorcyclists, the actual people that are on these bikes and drive these vehicles, and it's an incredible opportunity for me to be a part of this.
It most certainly is. Our leaders checking in now here at the bridge, the 4.5 mile marker. Caleb Russell still out front. There is Thad Duvall. There is Trevor Bollinger running in the number 3 spot now. It looks like they may be stretching things out a little bit over the 127 Kawasaki of Jordan Ashburn there. We'll be keeping an eye. No sign of Jordy just yet. And Jordan had gotten into that little breakaway run that they had going on there. There is the 127 Babbitt's Online Monster Energy Kawasaki machine. He's still 4th place solidly there. There is our 5th place ride, Stu Baylor. Ben Kelly is up to 5th place physically on the racetrack now, and I think if we want to start looking at this, we might be even closer now to seeing this rider again in the overall lead position. We toyed with that. As we said, he's only about 10 seconds out. There is the 5:14 of Stu Baylor now. He is 6th place physically on the racetrack and in class right now, I believe, or would he be 5th place right now? I got to go back and look at that again, Dale. I see. I wouldn't make a good account, and I lose count and track all of a sudden just like that. But speaking of, you utilize those skills and stuff that you learn through managing money, racing, and things like that. Obviously, you take a lot to the state, and I mean that not only from that aspect, but as I said, you're a real person. You're a real person that brings things to the state of North Carolina. What kind of things are we looking at right now? The state of North Carolina. I mean, you guys in pretty good position.
Yeah, we're one of the 14 states that has a AAA bond rating, and it doesn't matter what political party you're a member of. Anytime that you can borrow money and pay a lower rate of interest for it, that's good for everybody. Mm-hmm. It's good for public schools and public roads and criminal justice. And we've got some issues, with health care cost. Obviously, that's going on in West Virginia, and it's going on all across the country. So we're trying to bring transparency to health care costs so that consumers can have the information to figure out where the value and the price is. You've got a Pepsi-Cola sitting here, which was founded in North Carolina, right, by the way. And you got a Pepsi-Cola, and when you purchase that, the customer and the buyer purchaser were right side by side. There was both you. But in this healthcare situation, the customer's over here, and
all right, with leaders back on the screen, as we can see, 1, 2, and 3. They're still nose to tail right there as we roll here now. I believe, what are we looking at? 4.5, 5. We went through the 5. Is that the 5 we're looking at, or the 7.5 mile marker? Okay, and these guys are moving through this one pretty quick, looks like, as we roll through this one, Dale. And there comes the 127 again of Jordan Ashburn. Again, we'll be looking. I should have put a clock on this. I didn't quite get the time. I caught him just a little bit too late. But let's be watching here and see if we can gather whether or not we feel that Ben Kelly has chipped into that 1 minute time frame. Wow. If he hasn't, that's him. And if he hasn't done it yet, he is doggone close right now. And I think he's closer than 10 seconds, which is what we were at the end of that first lap of racing. Oh, okay. I was getting some wrong. I'm sorry. I do apologize. I was I'm not the only one, but we kind of thought that was. It is 2:06 of Josh Toth, then Stu Baylor. And there is Ben Kelly, and that makes a little more sense. And I do apologize for that, and that's okay because, it is. You got Caleb Russell, I think Josh Toth, and Ben Kelly all wearing the same gear. It gets a little confusing sometimes. And
well, it's incredible. I was just finishing by saying that. In healthcare all across the country, we've got to make sure the customer knows what the payer's paying, and the payer needs to know what happens to the customer, and just kind of closing that gap. And going back to your other comment about, down here with the GNCC Racing Nation, the older I get, the more I realize there's only 3 things that matter. If you have somebody to love every day, something to do every day, and something to look forward to every day, you're very wealthy. Amen. And I really look forward to these races, and thank you for letting me play a part of this.
Hey, man, thank you for being a part of it. I do appreciate you.
Thank you.
You have no idea. Each and every individual is certainly appreciated in my book because it takes your personality, it takes my personality, it takes that guy's personality to make the GNCC Racing Nation what it is.
Thank you. Have a great race.
You too. Dale Falwell, North Carolina State Treasurer, joining us here, and also GNCC competitor as we are joined back in the booth. Johnny Gallagher making his way in. And, Johnny, I don't know if you've been watching. I know you've been out and about. But now
I got confused. We were watching, and I was so excited about Ben being up front. I thought he had actually taken over the 5th physical place, but that's actually Josh Toth in that 5th physical place. But still, when we look back there, Ben Kelly is right there in the thick of things, and he's not far out of that time frame of possibly challenging for that overall.
Yeah, absolutely. And the overall top 3 just went by on screen there, and it was still Caleb Russell in the lead, Thad Duvall in second, and his teammate there, Trevor Bollinger, in the 3rd place spot. And yeah, absolutely, Ben is on a mission. He's getting up in there. I didn't get a chance to look at the time on the top of our screen there. 4th place there is the 127 of Jordan Ashburn on that Babbitt's Online Kawasaki. They are just absolutely charging. You got to wonder if some portion of the sense of urgency that the top 3 are showing here early may come back to the fact that they know they're battling against Ben Kelly on that number 1 KTM from the 2nd row. And speaking of, oh no, there it is. Again, I made the same mistake you did, Rodney. There he is, got all excited. That was not Ben Kelly, that is Josh Toth, physically in the 5th place spot. And that may have actually been, no, that was not yet either. There is Andrew DeLong, the 410 on that Phoenix Racing Honda. Ben Kelly should be coming on screen here any moment.
Well, if that's the case, I mean, maybe that was Ben Kelly going through there.
It wasn't. Here he is here.
Oh, there he is.
Yep, there is Ben Kelly. So seems maybe he have actually given up a little bit.
That's what I'm going to say,
there,
because I don't remember Andrew DeLong actually being in front of him. I recall, this is the way I recall the last few times that I've seen him, unless I missed Andrew DeLong. But I would see Stu Baylor come through, and then we would see the number 1 of Ben Kelly.
Well, I think what you're seeing there is Stu Baylor is actually charging up through the pack because he did have a penalty assessed at the end of that lap 1. So I think he went from, I believe, the 4th place spot all the way back to 10th, and now he's charging his way back up through. So he may actually be progressing through the pack more rapidly than Ben Kelly. So that's kind of what we're seeing here. But again, once you correct that time, so basically what had happened was on the start, our producer, Adam Gordon, asked to have that penalty explained. I believe he was held 15 seconds.
Yes.
Which, from what I know of that penalty, I haven't heard the official ruling, but that would mean that he started his bike before the green flag, but then proceeded to shut his bike off and did not take off. So the way the rule reads is that if you start your bike and take off early, it is a 30-second penalty, but also by promoter discretion, if you gain more than a 30-second advantage, you can be penalized additionally.
Right.
If you start your bike early, shut your bike off, and then start with everyone else, it's a 15-second penalty, basically just for kind of causing a little bit of chaos there. And because, there has to be a penalty. The green flag signals the start of the race. If you start before that, a penalty will be assessed based upon exactly what your infraction is. Here we see the 2nd place rider in XC2. That is Mike Witkowski, still on that number 282 factory beta, and he is really charging, trying to keep up the pace with Ben Kelly.
Yeah, so, we saw that twice this weekend here. Yesterday, Adam McGill had the same thing happen to him, Johnny Gallagher. He started it, and unfortunately for Adam, that put him behind the 8 ball because he turned it off, and then he let everyone kind of take off just before him, and then he took off, and he got tangled up in the back of the pack, kind of got spun around and dang near taken out. And that put him behind the 8 ball right off the bat. I was talking yesterday. He'd have almost been better to have shut it off and then tried to start with everybody instead of letting everybody go, because I know what he was thinking, and he was just trying to be cool about it. But heck, just go with it, man, and take the penalty, and it'd be easier to make up, I think, on the other end, personally, anyway.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, but you have to know the rule book, and we all know going into it, that if you start your bike early, it doesn't matter what you do, even if you let everyone go and say, hey, I'm sorry, you're still getting penalized. Yeah. So, not to say it's best just to start it and take off.
Right, again, no, I didn't. Right.
Yeah, if you, and here is the start, and we see there is Stu. He screwed up, hit his bike early. You can see him shaking his head. He knew he did it. And a lot of times what happens is, here, watch it again. Oh, mistake. Oh, I didn't mean to do it. Oh, no. So it's not like he grabbed the whole shot by any means. But unfortunately, again, the green flag signals the start of the race. Anybody that hits their button even accidentally before that, they are penalized. And, again, yesterday we saw that happen with Adam McGill. Today, and that brings up a great point. Why would we see twice 2 of our most seasoned, veteran, professional riders? Okay, we did miss our top 3 here at the Yamaha Hill, as we see that little placard says we got the Blue Crew and the Yamaha banners there, series sponsor. That was Jordan Ashburn, the number 127 Babbitt's Racing Online Kawasaki machine in 4th. But the reason why we see these riders so just focused, laser focused on that start, is this track is notoriously hard to pass on. So everybody wants to get that Mike Alessi advantage and pass all of the riders in their class on the way to the first turn. Speaking of passing riders, holy smokes, folks, Stu Baylor, after being penalized, it's like he knows we're talking about him. He's all the way up to the 5th place spot physically, and he is all over Josh Toth. That paused rider we see there is Andrew DeLong, a resurgence from him this year, the number 410 Phoenix Racing Honda. And there is the local boy, Josh Strang, local boy relocated, the 117 machine, or 114 machine. And look at this now, folks. Ben Kelly. Look at that line landing up on the bank. We got Ricky Russell and Grant Baylor here. One of you guys get in this chair and tell us what you're thinking about. Actually, let's put Rodney. I'm going to put you with both of them, and they can bicker back and forth. I'm going to go watch some racing. Get in here, guys. Come on. Grab a headset. Have a seat. Grant, I'm going to give you mine. Ricky, just go ahead and put that one on. Flip the switch, and you're going to be live.
Take that. Go get that mic from Adam, and maybe get some interviews too, Johnny, while you're out. Wow. So watching this, man, I mean, it's a whole different perspective, and it's going to be neat talking to two riders that are actually racers right now. I mean, you're in the thick of things and watching your competition out there and see what happens. And you guys have been watching it. What's your take on things right now so far?
Well, it's actually hard out there because you're just jumping around trying to catch people at different spots. I kind of like the screen here. You kind of can see what's going on. But looks like Caleb, Thad, and Trevor are doing their thing up front and just have a little lead over Ashburn. I'm really impressed with Ashburn. He's putting the throttle down and doing good in 4th right now. But
I expect to see a lot more great things out of Jordan Ashburn, to be honest with you. That kid, it's just a matter of finding the right pieces and puzzles and putting them all together. And once everything fits together, he's going to be a phenomenal, solid, consistent rider. I believe that, and have seen it in the past, to be honest with you. And right now also joined by Grant Baylor. Grant, as you join us, talk a little bit about things. There's Craig Russell. There is
all three of them.
And they're all three, nose to tail, no changes there as we are rolling into the pit stops for lap number 2 complete. But we'll find out here in just a second. We'll talk to...
I'm a little bit interested to see what Stu Baylor's lap time is coming off that 15.
Yeah. We
see
him oftentimes after incidents like that. He'll turn faster lap times than the guys up front and just blows me away. And
yeah, definitely. And me being his brother, I know how he works, and I would know that really got his blood boiling for sure. And he works better when his blood's boiling. He's hot and he's pissed off and ready to go. So,
and the funny thing, I talked to him this morning. There's Caleb, and there they come, still nose to tail through the pro pits right there. No changes, some lap traffic. But I talked to him this morning. Said he was under the weather. I asked him what kind of symptoms. They were cold-like symptoms, and he was feeling real tired, real groggy, and he sounded horrible. But
even he said flu maybe.
Oh no, that's. So, I mean, and he does seem to react better under those kind of conditions. We'll see if maybe he can rise to the occasion as we wrap up lap number 2 here at the FMF Steele Creek GNCC. 53.5 minutes now, 54 minutes, let's call it, into this race as Russell Duval run 1 and 2, 1.7 seconds separating them. Right behind them on that rear tire is the 739 of Trevor Bollinger, who, too, is within that second and a half time range for those guys rolling. Here comes the 127. That is Jordan Ashburn. We saw him 2 seconds behind a lap ago. We see that gap now opening up. Wow, now nearly 28 seconds. So that's a pretty big change. Yeah, if you're watching timing and scoring at home, Trevor Bollinger did not click in, but he did go through the scoring barrels. That will be adjusted. There's Toth coming through the pits now. And right ahead of him, is that not Big Stu, or Little Stu, I guess.
All over his back tire.
Yes, he is. So, wow.
He's probably not too happy, like Grant was saying, and like we said, he rides well when he's not happy.
So Ashburn, Baylor, Toth checking in now. Again, we got to put, if you're watching timing and scoring, we still got to put the number 739 of Bollinger in that number 3 spot. There is Ben Kelly going in. He grabs a quick drink of water as he goes through the pits there. Rightfully deserved, I'm quite sure, man, because he's probably been pushing very hard. He was talking about it. You both probably know what it's like to be out there by yourself. And when you're riding and you're pushing up through the pack like that, it's tough to gauge on what's going on when you're by yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, me coming from XC2, I had the 2 championships in XC2, and my second year it was my second year I was the man in XC2 to beat. So kind of like Ben here, and I went off the start on a mission to catch the XC1 guys. That was my goal. I was racing those guys, and I was racing the clock. So maybe that's kind of what Ben's doing here, and you know, maybe he's pushing for those guys to catch up to those guys early on. And if you can get with those guys, it's easy to follow them and you know, pick up on some of their stuff they're doing differently, and you learn a thing or two while you're at it.
You had some podium position finishes, didn't you?
Yeah, definitely. I had my second year in XC2. I think I was on the overall podium like 5 or 6 times.
Right.
Second, a few times second.
Yeah, second time. I
Multiple
mean, that
times.
Called the race short on me one time. And I was running second. And,
you know we did that so you wouldn't win.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the rumor, I'm sure. Anyway,
yeah,
somebody
I mean,
said
it
that.
was you know, it's about 30 minutes short. So.
Okay. I don't remember what race that was, but I remember a race being kind of short. Well,
I physically led Georgia that one year, and that was really awesome, you know.
Yeah.
And until the last lap, and then I threw it away, got stuck like 4 times.
So you know what it's like. You know what Big Kelly's going through.
Yeah,
right
definitely.
now.
I mean, he probably feels like he's the man. I mean, honestly, and then you know, you get to XC1 and it's like, yeah, I'm not the man anymore. Caleb Russell's the man.
What's the difference in that XC2 line? I mean, you were racing as fast, running as fast lap times, and quicker oftentimes, obviously. But when you got into that XC1 class, it's a whole different ballgame. What is the difference, man?
I mean, it's got a lot of things. I want to say mostly mental.
Mental is the biggest part.
Yeah, I mean, you're up there with the big dogs, and they don't give you an inch. You know, they'll put you off the track in a heartbeat. So these guys, they're all racing for big
literally,
money.
I mean, they will punt you off the racetrack.
Yeah, half the guys out there will. I mean, they'll put you
It's
right
a lot
into the
more.
trees,
I mean, you guys are buddies, but when it comes to racing, rubbing's racing and bumping is just part of it.
Yeah, and half the time it doesn't happen. I mean, half the time it doesn't even. It's not intentional. You know, like me and Ricky get together a lot. And, yeah, I mean,
yeah,
you know, it's not intentional. It's just,
everyone's just going for it, and
I mean,
everyone's
we're pushing it to that limit, and everybody wants it just as bad as the other guy. So. Everybody's going at it just as hard.
Was that Lane, Mike?
That was Stewart there.
Stewart, okay. I thought I saw. Okay,
and,
it wasn't 5, though, I guess.
Josh Toth right there behind him.
Yeah. So
still right on his heels.
Well, you know, this might be a good lesson for Josh, to be honest with you. I mean, he might learn. I mean, because Stu is a hard pusher, and obviously, man, I mean, you guys find lines in some of the craziest and most adverse conditions, and is that something that you do intentionally, or does it just happen for you guys?
You know, some of it it's just you know, instinct. We see it and it just happens. So you know, a lot of times we'll just see that stuff and you know, we'll just see it and go straight at it. And you know, I don't even know how to do it sometimes. I can't explain it, but it just happens. You know, it's second nature for us.
Grant and Stu are very good at it. We call them Baylor lines sometimes. But no, they're just growing up here. They just see it and they commit to it. So I think I just saw a picture of Stu last weekend racing enduro with bushes all hanging all over him. But
he's got locked elbows.
Yeah, they're good at it.
Big Kelly, we did see go by there just a few moments ago, and unfortunately, Ben is overshadowing everyone so much in that XC2 class that we haven't even talked about anything going on back behind him right now. It's Mike Witkowski, 1 minute and 45 seconds back. Evan Smith, 8 seconds behind him, and Johnny G. Gerard, the other Johnny G, is in the 4th place position. So theoretically, those guys can see each other in that battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place positions. So we do have a good race going on.
I think I saw Liam, Johnny, and Evan Smith all pretty close when they came by.
So watching right now, looking at approaching 1 hour into this race, history quite possibly ready to be made on a very historic 20th running of the FMF Steele Creek GNCC. Currently, Caleb Russell leading Thad Duvall, Trevor Bollinger, and Ben Kelly working his way up to the pack. But we're also keeping an eye on Stu Baylor. Can Stu push through and maybe make a podium today? Stick around and find out. GNCC Live continues right after this.
Grand National Cross Country, a race like no other. 2 hours of battling in the toughest conditions an ATV may ever see. And you get to watch it in the comfort of, well, wherever you want to be. Just click us right here, live on RacerTV.com.
Your bearings shoulder the burden whenever you tow, haul, or stomp the gas. AMSOIL delivers powerful protection for bearings and other critical components so you can drive with confidence. To demonstrate, an independent lab put AMSOIL synthetic motor oil head-to-head against a leading competitor in a 100,000-mile test. AMSOIL provided far superior wear protection and kept engine bearings looking like new. Get your truck the protection it deserves at AMSOIL.com/auto.
I'm a junior for pro surfer from Maui, Hawaii. I actually tried to homeschool in 8th grade and just didn't meet my needs. I came to On Track in 9th grade, and from the beginning I really liked it.
The mission at On Track School is to make academic success completely possible for each and every student while they're out pursuing their personal goals.
Everything is just super easy with On Track. I get to take my computer on the road whenever I need to. It makes it very easy for me to get all my work done.
If you're looking for a program that provides flexibility and a program that you can take anywhere that fits your lifestyle, then On Track is for you. So come check us out at ontrackschool.com and go get it.
Even when you're the best, you never stop striving to be better. The all-new from the ground up 2019 Yamaha YZ250F is available at LoJack Cycle Sales, alongside the all-new YZ65 and YZ85, and refined YZ450F. So stop by LoJack Cycle Sales today in Tarentum, Pennsylvania, and visit our online inventory at www.lojacks.com. Yamaha YZs. It's why we ride.
And welcome back to GNCC Live from Morganton, North Carolina, in Burke County, in Morganton, North Carolina. As we said, Burke County for this 20th running. I don't know what's going on. 20th running of this FMF Steele Creek GNCC. Wow, what a great day we've had here. We had rain showers overnight, which was much needed. Things really dried out after ATVs raced yesterday. So the rain showers last night and early this morning certainly setting the stage for perfect conditions here. I'm being joined right now by Ricky Russell and also by Grant Baylor, and of course Johnny Gallagher out and about. He's going to be doing some pit reporting for us here in just a few moments. And you know, we were talking with Grant, we've got some historical things that could quite possibly happen. One of the things that we're looking at obviously is the possibility of Trevor Bollinger maybe getting his first win here. He's right there in contention, and we've seen a lot of firsts taking place for him. But we've also been looking at Ben Kelly and talking with Grant Baylor here. Grant kind of, well, Ben's actually doing the same thing basically that Grant did through his XC2 career. It looks like that's what's going to be happening. But the neat thing about it is, you know, we talk about those transitions, Grant. You know, you transitioned into the XC1 class, and we always talk about that step and the middle game and stuff like that. And we mentioned that earlier. But the one thing that I got to point out for folks, and it kind of slipped my mind until just a few moments ago, but your first year, you actually finished runner-up. You had the number 2 plate after your rookie season as an XC1 rider.
Yeah, I really had an awesome first season, you know, coming off of that back-to-back XC2 championship. You know, I still felt like I was the man, and well, you know, it started out a little slow, and those guys kind of put me in my place, and but I learned quick and made my way up every race, and you know, I was just consistent throughout the year. I was right there, 3rd, 4th all through the year. And those guys, you know, they finished 1st, 2nd, and then finished 10th at the next round or DNF or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, I just had a really consistent season, and, you know, it was a good season as well, and ended up 2nd for my first season. But
I've been downhill since then, though.
Yeah, after that, you know, it started popping out both my shoulders, and, yeah, it's just been a rough couple years here.
But the good thing is you're on the mend, right? You've had surgery, and we should be good to go hopefully soon.
Yeah, hopefully be back for X Factor, skip one more round.
For sure, for sure. We were just talking about that with kind of like Josh Toth right now. He just jumped into XC1, and he's he was the man in XC2. Him, and then the last year was him and Ben. So 2 years ago it was all Josh, and now jumping XC1, he's still like Grant did. He kind of steady top 5-ish, or he started a little bit out of the top 5, and now he's creeping up there. So like you said, he was following. Who's he following now? Stu right now. So he might be able to learn a thing or two and kind of put it to them guys.
Yep, and he may not have even won the championship last year. You know, Ben got it, but you know, if you were out there watching, those guys were wheel to wheel every single race. So he may not have won it, but he was just as fast.
Yeah.
You know, they were honestly wheel to wheel at the finish.
That was great. I mean, that was intensity at its best as far as championships go between those two riders in that XC2 Pro class there last year. As we continue to watch now, about an hour and 6 minutes now, and we make our way down here to the bridge, of course, and going to be looking for Caleb Russell and our leaders to make their way through here in just a few moments, and that is, of course, about the 4.5 mile marker that we're looking at right here. And this has been a mainstay in GNCC racing for so many years. I remember there used to be 10,000 people or 5,000 people down there in this section of the track, and there's other sections of the track that have gained some notoriety over the time. But you know, even though this thing has been tamed down quite a bit, there still presents its challenges.
Oh, for sure. This year, it's looking like some of the best conditions I've seen here. Yesterday, like you guys said, it was a little dry for the quads, but I think got a rainstorm last night, and pretty much shit tacked up. It's looking perfect. It might have got a little rougher now. I'm kind of bummed I'm not out there.
I can imagine. I have to wonder. I just wondered about that because, I mean, the weather today, I mean, perfect for riding. I mean, it's beautiful, sunshiny, 60, 65 degrees or something like that. There is a little bit of a nip in the air as far as chillness. But
for race conditions, I'd rather a little cooler than hotter any day. So,
yeah, I mean, it's
great.
Perfect for racing today.
Yeah.
And, man, we've been blessed.
Georgia looked perfect, too, as well. That was another round I got to miss, unfortunately.
Yeah, you got to watch part of that one, though, online. But that was certainly, I got to say, I mean, back-to-back rounds like that, I love it. And it amazes me how some folks are just able to really rebound back after, and you see them after a race in Florida.
Here comes Caleb.
And they look wore out, and then they look
These
great, just like this guy right here.
Yep.
Choo-choo train.
Caleb Russell rode his heart out in Florida and came back a week later and won in Georgia.
Bollinger in the second.
Yeah, Bollinger, then Thad.
You know, I actually heard a rumor the other day about Trevor.
Well, do we want to share that?
Yeah. Well, you know, being the hometown boy and all, yeah, I heard that he is the Dale Earnhardt Jr. of Morganton, North Carolina.
That makes sense. I mean, in notoriety and stardom and stuff. Well, did you hear the crowd on the starting line whenever we announced his name? I mean, they went nuts.
Yeah. You know, everybody's here for Trevor. I mean,
if they didn't come here for Trevor, as soon as they figured it out, they're here for Trevor. Now, actually, we did have a chance as we watched these riders check through. We saw there goes Jordan Ashburn. That's our 4th place position finisher now. And let's hold here.
Let's wait for the next couple of guys.
Yeah, let's check in with that 5th and 6th place ride. See what's going on with Stu and Josh.
Him right there. Yep. Stewart right in front of Josh again right
there.
Yep,
that was Josh Toth. Yeah.
So, but we did have a chance to catch up with Trevor Bollinger and talk to him about the hometown aspect of this race.
Yeah, you know, it's 10 minutes from my house, so it's a lot easier getting here, and no extra pressure. Just want to go out there and execute and ride like I know how, and I think if we do that, it'll be a good day. This year, I feel more comfortable up there. You know, last year, I think, you know, maybe it had to be the perfect day for me to be up there with him, and you know, like in Georgia, I felt completely comfortable, and at the end, you know, I feel like I still had more in the tank. So hopefully, yeah, we can just get up there and put ourselves in good positions again, and hopefully we'll be there the last 2 laps to try to fight for the win.
Man, the natural progression of this kid has just blown me away. I mean, he obviously caught my attention winning that overall amateur back 6, 7 years ago, however many years it's been now, and he just keeps grabbing your attention time after time after time. I mean, just whenever you're about ready to write Trevor Bollinger off and say, well, he's hit the wall and that he's done now. That's not the case. I mean, he goes another level higher.
Since I've been on the East Coast, I've raced with Trevor weekend after weekend because we like to race locals together, and he's always been one of my top competitors, and we've always been going at it. And now coming to XC1 together, we both kind of got better in the class together. So seeing him this year, he's looking pretty dialed in, and it's pretty cool to see.
Oh, certainly. And Ricky, I know you were feeling pretty good coming into this year. I mean, you probably feel, where do you think you belong out here right now if you hadn't gotten injured?
You can always say I felt like I belonged in the top 3 right there with them guys, but you just never know. And I mean, I felt confident with we had a new bike this year, and I felt like it was a lot better than our previous setup. So coming in the year, I was feeling really strong. I had Whibley helping me and just kind of dialing things in, and it's just really unfortunate down there, like I said, in Florida, getting ready to go, and just had an unfortunate issue, mistake on my part, and broke my leg. So now we're here watching, so that's all I can do, and try to support the team as much as I can.
That's a bummer. There's no doubt about it. But good to see. I mean, I hate that you're out, but I'm glad to see Corey Buttrick back.
Yeah, for sure. It's cool. That he deserves an opportunity to go out there and give it his all. So very cool to see him out there, because he wouldn't even be here if he didn't have this opportunity. So
right.
At least worst case for me, but at least it kind of gave someone else an opportunity too as well.
Yeah, and I was talking to Corey, and we were talking about the Yamaha, and he was, I guess he was riding your setup, your suspension and everything in Georgia a couple of weeks ago, and he got his suspension set up, and he said he was a lot more confident coming into this one. And I asked him about the Yamaha, and he's like, oh man, I love it. I mean, he had nothing but praises to sing about it, and I don't think there was any sunshine being blown because it was just an opportunity. I think he was sincere about it. So obviously, whatever changes have been made, I'm sure you guys had some research and R&D help into that. It's making a difference, I think, in the Yamaha. Not that Yamaha was bad before. It's just
no, we just lost a little bit of weight and kind of dialed things in a little bit more with suspension wise, and I think everything's feeling more balanced, and like I said, the new bike's feeling dialed. So very unfortunate I can't be out there to kind of show what I could do on it, but we'll be back in hopefully a couple more rounds.
All right, as we continue to watch, got a local announcement to make. I got some vehicles parked in front of a big red camper. North Carolina's license, a black Jeep. North Carolina's license, again, a red Chevy truck, and a silver Toyota with a Yamaha in the back. If you are parked in front of that big red camper and you've got one of those vehicles, we need to ask you to move those ASAP. We appreciate your cooperation. An hour and 13 minutes now into this race. Rodney Tomlin again here with Rough and Rowdy, Ricky Russell, and of course Grant Baylor. Grizzly Grant Baylor. I was going to say we never have come up with a nickname, but yeah, we have. And Ricky, I love calling you Rough and Rowdy, and that one came out of just, I had nothing else to call you. I didn't know who you were really. I knew you came from the West Coast, and you were a really fast rider. They said, Ricky Russell, Ricky. And I was like, all right, he's rough. And I just whipped it off, and I went with it after that. And then after I got to meet you, I was like, wow, what an ironic nickname that I threw onto you. But you are Rough and Rowdy whenever it comes to racing.
Yeah, I don't know. It was pretty funny. I just came over here in 2013, and I didn't know anyone. I was just kind of jumping into a ring of fire, and I think it was the first round or second round you introduced me, and I think first round I actually got like 7th or something XC1, and I was like really stoked with that because it was my first ever GNCC, and I think it might have been second round. That's when you said he's rough, he's rowdy. Oh, we got Stu Baylor on the screen. Looks like Josh Strang and then Josh Toth.
Wow, is he caught up to Strang already?
I think Strang kind of maybe put on a little charge, got back with those guys.
Strang was behind them. I was thinking of, Jordan Ashburn there for a second. But yeah, Strang was behind him as Jordan was up there. But
it might have been Ashburn. I am not 100% on that.
So. Yeah, I think Ashburn was running behind.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so they caught back up to him.
Next should be Josh.
There's Strang.
Yes. Okay. That puts it all in perspective now. And those guys really, Josh is not far off pace either. Josh, he seems to be finding a pretty good union with, I think, the Team Green Kawasaki, the Babbitt's online team there. I don't think we've actually seen the potential that he holds there. And Ben, he's in some lap traffic right now, but the good thing about it for him is a lot of those guys have already pushed through that, so they're getting out of his way pretty quick too.
Yeah, and it looks like Jordan Ashburn is starting to move forward. He got around Toth there, and he's right on Stewart's rear wheel, so looks like those guys better figure something out. Tag along.
This is going to be, I think it's going to end up being a good one. I know we got that battle up front with Russell Duvall and Bollinger for the top 3, but as this race wears on, Ashburn's about 30 seconds behind, or was at the end of lap 2, about 30 seconds behind that front 3 battle. And now, we had Stu, who was another 30 seconds behind Jordan Ashburn.
Oh, so he's just caught up to Ashburn.
Stu's going forward.
He just made up 30 seconds on Ashburn, so wow, unless Ashburn's slowing down and/or both. Stu is speeding up at the same time. I mean, heck, we may be seeing Stu really catching the leaders too at this point. I mean, we won't know till they come around for the end of this lap, but we're at the 7.5 mile marker here. We just seen him go by there. We've got what is it, 11-mile track, I think, today, or 12-mile track, somewhere in that neighborhood. So we're past the halfway point of this lap, so this is going to get interesting. Let's keep an eye on that. While we keep an eye on that and watch the screen, you guys let me know if you see anything. I'm going to jump in here and check in with some of these amateur classes that make up GNCC Racing Nation and give us all a reason to be out here each and every week. And we're going to start with that Open A class. This is the one where we first met Trevor Bollinger just a few years ago, and now he is vying for a possible win here today. The 256 of Evan Earl from Blacksburg, South Carolina, leading the Open A class of the 915 in second. Landon Bruner out of Halifax, PA. Third place then the 103 of Levi Keller from Bainbridge, Ohio. Fourth place the 91 of Nick O'Brien. He's out of Chillicothe, Ohio. And the 319 of Eric Geis from Sammamish, Washington. Rounds out the top 5 in that Open A
that's
class.
my buddy from Washington you just listed off there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So, Eric, did you
Eric
bring
Geis.
him out? Geis.
Yes.
So, an Open A, is he?
What's
is
he running?
He's running the Open A class. Is he an up-and-comer? Is he going to be somebody we need to keep an eye on?
He came over last year and gave it a shot and kind of stayed where he was in Open A's, but he's trying to improve and he's working, and so it's kind of tough. He's working full time and he's up actually living in North Carolina with Hooper, doing the full gas sprint enduro stuff. So I don't know how much focused he is on GNCCs right now, but he's still giving it a shot and seeing what he can do. So I was curious what you said. I think he was top 3 or top 4 in Open A, and I watched his start. It was not good.
Well, there he is, Eric Geis.
Oh, that's good.
He's currently running 5th, so I'm going to be watching him now.
Yeah.
You put him on the radar. 258 class right now. The 42 of Ryder LeBlanc out of New Florence, Pennsylvania. A 9-second lead over Andrew Gross, the 637 from Hancock, New York. 235 Brody Johnson out of Landrum, South Carolina in 3rd. 4th place, the 565 of Nicholas Cordana from Cheshire, Massachusetts. And rounding out the top 5, the 712 of Bryce Costa from Sorrento, Florida. Next, the 200A class. Dylan Zimpel leading that one, the 929. I think he got the early lead in that one, too.
Is that Stu right there? Yep. Stu, followed by Ashburn and Toth. Them 3 are just freight training right now.
Stu is really pushing it right now. I think I'm going to start keeping an eye on Stu right now, and I'm going to guess that
Maybe
I don't
Josh
know.
can tag along with him there.
Yeah.
He's been with him the whole race. He just needs to get around Ashburn, and Stewart's starting to open that gap up a little bit. He better make quick work on Ashburn, or else Stewart's going to open that gap up where he can't follow and tag along. So, or else maybe he might be able to have that speed, though. Maybe he can still have that speed.
Yeah, I'm impressed with Ashburn right now. He's sticking it to them guys. And here comes Strang. He's a little bit behind that group.
We're watching right now the Yamaha hill climb. The 9-mile marker is what we're looking at. And if you talk to anybody that climbed that hill, we're looking at this. It doesn't look like much of a hill. Did you guys go watch it or go look at it anytime?
I haven't. I got broken legs, so it's kind of hard to get out there. But but I heard it was steep. I heard it was a hill climb, so they were kind of worried about if it got too wet, it would be pretty hard. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same hill we've gone up for the last 7
yeah,
years.
So it's a rough one then. It's a rough one then.
I mean, we come
It's
up
chopped
one
out.
year and down it the next year, so same hill, so it's not too bad. You just don't want to get stuck and or hung up on it.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Or have a lapper
Especially
get in front of you is
lappers,
the main thing,
yeah, and then we seen that happen yesterday with the ATVs. Those lappers getting crossed up in the track. And
If you lose a lot of drive right here at the bottom, that's what will really hurt you on the time.
coming through.
Yep, Andrew, he's not too far off them guys, so that's good to see.
Yeah, he's been strong this year on the Honda ride.
Yeah, good ride. I mean, that was good inspiration for him. I know I did an interview with Andrew prior to the start of the season, and in talking with him, I mean, he was at the point where it was almost a done deal for him as far as he was done racing and stuff, and the opportunity got presented.
One sec, sorry, Caleb coming through. Is this coming into the pits?
But we're wrapping up this lap now, or getting ready to wrap this lap up. But just
they're
quickly,
just choo-choo training, yeah, them 3.
Quickly to say, he said basically gives a lot of credit to Angela, his wife, for keeping the inspiration alive. Said, if you're going to do this, go do it, because I don't want to live with you if you're not going to race, because that's what you want to do.
That's what it's all about. And Andrew was like, same with Grant. When XC2, he was the man. He came up and had awesome overalls back on the Husky team he was on, and So it was demoralizing when he jumped up and kind of had problems, injuries. I mean, we all go through injuries, and so for him to come back up and get some support from Honda, it's really awesome to see him out here doing good.
Well, here we are, third lap, and yes, we are going to do a pit stop. We see Caleb going for the gas tank there.
And Stewart won't be pitting this lap, so maybe he'll close the gap up a little bit on these guys.
So does Stu look at that coming into the race? Does he pit off topic a little bit, I guess, to try to be in his advantage?
Well, you know,
hang on, I think we got Johnny
Rodney,
Gallagher.
I just saw Stu Baylor, his bike shut off. He blew through a banner and missed a section of track here on the back side of the pro pits. He has gotten around Jordan Ashburn, but his bike shut off. He coasted through the banners, got it refired, and got back on track, but he did miss a chicane.
Wow, what a heartbreaker there, man. I mean, he was making up some major time there, and a little miscue like that can take the wind out of your sails sometimes like that.
For sure. Hopefully it's not. Oh, it looks like a bike issue. Does not look good.
Well, he did say the bike shut off, so would it be a fuel?
It looked like it just shut off again, and then he does not look happy.
Yeah, he's not.
Hopefully it's not a bike issue, and it's just something little that they can get fixed or something. Get back going.
But yeah, you know, me and Stuart were on the 450s, and half these other guys are on the 350s, and they suck a little less fuel on the 350s. And you know, us being a little bigger on the 450s, we're about 210 pounds. These other guys are 160, 170. So yeah, we're going to use a little more fuel. It's not really a strategy, but we physically can't go more than about an hour on a tank.
I see. I understand.
We have to pit every 2 laps.
Yep.
Where half these other guys have one pit stop on the 3rd lap and then run the rest of the race.
Right. Well, rolling through the finish line, there's...
it looked like Stu got back going, so it must have been something little or minor. I don't know.
Maybe Johnny Gallagher can stop down to the TD Energy pits and get us a word in. There comes the number 1 now of Ben Kelly in for his pit stop. This is the leader of the XC2 Pro Lights class, and
he's calm there and just calm and collected. He's going to ride his own race.
Yeah, and that's what he said. He coming into this. I mean, that's what he wanted to do. And you know, I mean, there is a little bit of a sense of urgency there because he does want to ride up there, but at the same time, he's just letting, I think, natural talent take its course out there. And this is the progression of the day. See where it falls, and it seems to be falling in his favor quite nicely. Let's go ahead and look at those pro client guys coming in again real quick, give you an idea. Russell and Duvall checking in 5 seconds apart now after that pit stop. I think that might be the thing that separated those guys. Another 4 seconds back to Trevor Bollinger. Jordan Ashburn now 44 seconds back, as Stu Baylor only a second behind him. So in theory, in reality, Stu made up 15 seconds on the leader when you look at the big picture. And that was even after the bike stalling. That was after running through the banners.
He had the fastest lap time last lap.
With all those issues, he turned a 27.08, which was still 3 seconds faster than Caleb Russell. So you have to wonder, how fast was Stu really going on that lap? What would that lap time have been had it not stalled it out and had those issues?
Yeah, pretty impressive when Johnny just told us he watched him stall the bike and go through the banners and all that. So yeah, he's on it right now. He's, like we said, he's probably very frustrated with the start procedure issue, and then whatever issues he has going on right now is probably just still burning the fire, and he's just going to pick it up and go faster until either that bike breaks or he's going to be up on the podium.
Well, I tell you, you got to respect and admire Stu. There's no doubt. I know, you know, some people don't necessarily understand his not so orthodox way of living and being. You know, I mean, he's not your cookie cutter pro rider. You know what I mean? He is his own person, and there's nothing wrong with that. We need personality on that pro row. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And not saying that you don't have personality.
No, it's for sure good. No, he brings a little bit different style to the races, and it's cool, and a lot of fans like it. We all get along. We're all friends, so it's cool.
It is cool. So let's see. Right now, let's
Johnny
see.
G.
Yeah, Johnny Girard checking in. Now this guy, you know, I got to say, good move on his part. He's been kind of hit and miss in GNCC for the last 3-4 years or so, but we've always seen him in the XC1 class. This year he comes back and he's actually dedicated, it appears, to the championship, but he goes to the XC2 class, that 250 class now, and it really seems to be a good fit for him, I think.
For sure. Last year he came up towards the end of the year on MCS Suzuki, and he was doing well at the end. He was consistent podium, so he got some more help this year, it looks like, and Trail Jesters is always sticking behind him, that whole New England crew. So he's coming to all these races now, and he's a J-Day ripper, and he has that 30-minute sprint. He's ungodly fast for 30 minutes, but he's just got to put it together for that full 3 hours, and I know he can. And he has. Looked like, I think, Florida in the other round, he got second both rounds, so he's picking it up. It's definitely good. So I think he got a bad start here today. It looks like he's kind of working his way up, but hopefully he can make it happen again.
Now, did you go? He started out at XC1.
So 2013, I tried to just jump into the fire and go XC1.
Is that the leaders there? Yep.
That is Caleb, or is that? Yep. Yeah.
I'm starting to open that up. That's bigger than that 5 seconds.
Yeah,
that we
for
were
sure.
looking at a few moments ago. Caleb might have got the breakaway that he was looking for right here. But we're looking for Thad to check in, and Trevor, obviously.
Yeah, where are these guys?
I don't know if that was 100% Caleb.
It might not have been. We'll wait on that. We might have got some.
There's too many number ones out there.
Because that was yeah.
Yeah.
That was Ben because I saw Andrew Long just go by right there.
Okay.
Okay, so it was Ben, you said?
Yep.
Okay.
Ben Kelly.
All right. So you were saying 2013, yeah?
Yeah, I kind of just came over here not knowing what I was getting myself into, and just jumped into. I raced pro at home, local pro, so jumped into XC1, and yeah, it was up and down year, but didn't have much support, so it was tough to go out there and try to be real competitive. But I mean, I had a lot of top 10 finishes, so I think I got a little bit of recognition from that, and rode XC2 the next year for Jason Raines on the Yamaha team, so that was really cool. And then did XC2 for 2 years with this guy. He talks like he was the man, but I beat him quite often. So, we had some good battles, and it always came down my XC2 years. I broke my wrist both years. So it always came down.
So you're saying that his finger wouldn't be quite what it is?
Yeah, if my wrist didn't have an issue, he wasn't in there. So.
I actually got lucky. I mean, my first year, Andrew broke his wrist halfway through the season. He won the first 4 races in a row in XC2, and I was, he opened the door up for me there.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big part of it, though. Injuries is a big part to get through these 3-hour races, and so he was the man who got through the season clean. And we had a lot of good battles. XC2 for 2 years, and then went to XC1 last 2 years, and kind of got some recognition for getting some podiums in 2016, and then been on the Pro Yamaha team for the last 2 years.
Yeah, thanks. It's really nice. It's really nice that
There's
things are.
Evan
Smith right on Witowski, and Johnny.
Wow.
They're all right there battling for that. Is that the third place or second place? Yeah. Second place.
Yeah,
they all caught Witowski.
Yeah, that's that heated battle between.
And there's Buttrick.
Those guys are going to be going at it for sure for that second
sure.
place spot. Evan just came off of his first podium in Georgia, and I know he's hungry and he's been training hard. He's been up at the house training a lot. And, same with Johnny. He's been training really hard this year. So, and these guys are all training together. So it's just cool to watch them out here and battle together at the races as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's cool to see them so competitive in the XC2 class now. I know they're all like hungry for that XC2 podium because they're not real used to it. This year's Witowski's been up there on and off, and Johnny's been just up there this year and the end of last year. So they're all really hungry for those podium spots. Right now they're kind of hard to beat Ben because he's just kind of checked out, but it's a little demoralizing. But they know they can be on the box to still put in the good work.
So just a quick question. I mean, stepping back in the XC2 Pro-Am class, you think that was good for your career? It helped you later on in the XC, or like right now?
For sure, like they're talking, it's a mental thing. It's huge, and just getting smoked every weekend is not going to help you as much as going and possibly winning or podium in the XC2 class. You're going to get more momentum and just have more confidence. So built a lot of confidence in XC2 running with those guys, and then like these guys are doing, getting up in the overalls, you can still be running with the XC1 guys. So kind of just helps you in 2 different ways: build confidence winning XC2 or doing well in XC2, and then running with XC1 and kind of learning your pace and kind of learning things each year. For me, it's been a learning experience every year because I didn't do this when I was little.
Right.
I came here when I was older and trying to just jump into it. So
it doesn't seem like you've been at a disadvantage.
See, there's the bottleneck you don't want to catch. Austin Lee
Austin
came up
Lee,
right
yeah.
behind him and had nowhere to go, so he went off the hill to the left. Not sure where he went.
Hopefully got back on up there.
Yeah.
And that can turn a race around real fast, can it?
For sure.
I mean, you can see, and we've heard that. I mean, riders will be going along, and there'll be a lap rider get in between them, and then all of a sudden.
Yeah, and as Johnny mentioned earlier, this is the worst track to deal with lappers, and there's a lot of guys here. You know, this is a really big event. This is one of the biggest events, and most lappers and most riders out there. So yeah, it's really hard to pass on this narrow track. You're on the side of a mountain the whole time on a
But you're able to make the pass. So we're getting a report now that Thad Duvall may have moved into the first place position.
Yeah, they just came by the booth here. I heard them yelling Thad was leading just ahead of Caleb Russell.
All right, so we must have a new leader. Where we
Which
see them
Thad was in third, I think. So, yeah, them three are just going back and forth, and I think Thad must have had some good lines.
All right, so they just checked in a little bit ago. They're not due in for another 24 minutes or so. So we're probably they've gone past this monster mile section, I believe.
I think Thad won here last year,
They should
right?
be coming up to the bridge here soon.
Yeah, so we'll find out. We'll get that shot in just a moment. I know, real quick, keep an eye on this screen and this monitor while we wait on them to check back in. We're waiting to see and pick up whether or not Thad Duvall has taken over the lead from Caleb Russell. We're right now looking at a couple of these other classes of the amateurs out there. 200 egg class, Dylan Zempel, 929 from Iron Station, North Carolina, leading in that class. 447, Logan Kiddick from Farmington, Minnesota in second. Third place at 199 is Zachary Davidson out of Iron Station, North Carolina. Max Fernandez from Ottsville, PA, the 490. In fourth place, and Sean Myers rounds out your top five. Myers out of Reimersburg, Pennsylvania in that 200 egg class. Forster. Good.
They look like Jesse Ansley there. I don't know what place he's in XC3.
Yeah, let's check in with that real quick.
I believe I saw Jason Thomas come through just a minute ago.
So last time they came through at the end of lap 3, Jason Thomas had, less than a second lead over Cody Barnes, and it was 40 seconds back to Jesse Ansley in third place position. It was Jake Froman in fourth, Michael Beeler rounding out the top five. So, wow, man. Barnes, after winning that race in Georgia, that's lit a fire under his tail, man.
Sometimes that's all it takes to get the confidence to be up there.
Yeah, he had an awesome ride last weekend, too, down in Florida at the National Enduro.
Right, and he's riding, and I don't want to call it a non-traditional bike, but you don't see a lot of them a lot, is the Beta. I mean, we've seen that machine come a long way. Rodney Smith over there at the Beta Company, he's like the team manager and so forth. He's brought some really good riders in there, Wachowski and those guys. I mean, they're really...
Wachowski's been killing it this year. He's like, every year we've seen him on the podium here and there, but this year it's like he's there every weekend. He's been consistent. It looks like he's put in the work this offseason.
And they say that they've done a lot of R&D on those bikes, and they brought those the folks at Beta have really been working with them and brought those bikes a long way too. Not that there was a lot wrong with them, but when you get them in these conditions, you don't know how to test them until you race them here. So they've got a few things fixed, and you see what the results are. I think we may be seeing another brand actually become a big player in the off-road racing world pretty soon. All right, still watching right now here at the 4.5 mile marker. We should be seeing our leaders come in. Last check again, we saw physically Caleb Russell leading, and it was Thad Duvall in second. But as we mentioned, someone comes by, gives us a report that Thad Duvall is out front now and Caleb Russell in second. Well, they didn't even say who was in second. They just said Duvall out front now. So
I heard someone say Caleb was in second, but I'm not sure.
Are you sure it wasn't me?
No, somebody back there.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just playing.
I hear somebody out behind the booth yelling.
Right. So with that, that's pretty interesting. I mean, that even goes to show you, man, Caleb Russell makes mistakes. As perfect as he seems, and that's what's really neat. We'll watch that from this perspective, and I don't know if you can't see him, you might be thinking the same thing we're thinking out there too when you're racing against him. But you think, oh my gosh,
Here's that cone here.
Is that Bollinger?
It's Duvall.
Oh, Duvall. Okay, Duvall, then Russell, then Bollinger. Okay, there we go. 1, 2, and 3. And they're still nose to tail. Now, when they came through the finish line after that pit stop, they'd spread out. Now they're right back to that battle that we've watched basically since the flying of the green flag.
Yep, now we're going to see if Stewart's going to come around, if he had any issues or, what's going on there.
Them three are pushing it to the next level right now, so it looks like they lost Ashburn a little bit, and we'll see, if Stuart Baylor maybe got back around to Ashburn or if Ashburn picked it back up. We'll
Yeah, because that happened right before they checked in.
Yeah,
so.
with his pit issues.
Yeah.
Ashburn got back around him, and then he stalled it. And it looked like he was right back on him, leaving the pit. So we'll have to see when they come back by here.
Well, by my calculations, they were 45 seconds, so we should be seeing them, or should have seen them about any time now, actually. That gap might be starting to open up a little bit now.
Then 3 could be pushing each other that much harder now with that out front, and
the issues
he's trying to push and get away, and Caleb's pushing to stay with them, and Bollinger's pushing to stay with them. So they could be all up in it.
Be interesting to see the lap times at the end of this lap, but with Stu's problems out there, that might be a big issue. So I haven't seen him go through yet.
No.
And
there goes Josh.
Josh Toth.
Josh Toth.
Yeah.
Maybe now. Maybe that issue that Stu was having there earlier.
There
he
goes
goes
Stu.
right there, Stewart.
He had something with his goggles.
Yeah, putting on a fresh pair of goggles, looks like.
He didn't seem to be riding with any sense of urgency either.
No.
Not seeing Ashburn yet. There goes Ashburn, maybe?
Yeah, it looked like Cowie. No, like you were talking about earlier, though, there's a lot of this track that you don't see on these cameras, and a lot of little things that can get you. It's pretty much impossible to go 3 hours on a 12-mile track and not have accidents. You're talking about Caleb being perfect. He's the most perfect out of all of us. There goes Strang right there.
Yeah, I mean, and actually one race last year I was behind him. I bet I saw him wreck 6 times on the first lap, but every time he wrecked, he got right back up and he passed me within the next mile, and it's like, I don't know what this guy's doing. He's crazy. He can make a pass happen. I've seen him make some really crazy passes happen that I would never even think of.
Well, you know what it's like. Sometimes you see a line and you just got to go for it, man.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, let's take a look at some more of these amateur classes. We're at the hour and a half mark in this race, an hour and 37 minutes actually, and 2 and 3 laps in for most of our amateurs as we'll start taking a look a little deeper into these now. As we look at that 4-stroke 8 lights, Braxton McGee from Bowlville, North Carolina with a near-minute lead at the end of lap number 2 over Blake Grindstaff. Braxton just checked in for lap 3, so we'll be watching to see if he was able to extend that anymore. 107.
Andrew DeLong there. He's not too far behind Strang.
Yeah. Looks like he's moving up maybe.
Yeah, might be picking it up.
So good to see Andrew. Another good solid ride for him. He's not where he wants to be put, but what he's doing, you got to think about the situation he's in. He's getting that experience. He's getting adapted to the new bike, the new team. There's a lot of things going on there, and to be able to ride consistently the way he has these first 3 races, that's really impressive in my opinion. I believe.
Yeah, and these guys this year, it's like, it seems like in a couple years past, it'd be, the top 3 or 4 or 5 guys, and then, a big gap to the next couple guys, next group. But this year it seems like those guys are all, the top 10 are all running right there in a train together.
Everyone's just been stepping it up. That's what it looks like.
Andrew was running, 6th or 8th at Georgia all day long, but he was 20 seconds behind the lead.
Yeah.
And I was really impressed with that. It looks like he's really picking it up this year, and it's working well for him.
I think everyone.
And everybody's really killing it. Everybody's like on it, and it's crazy. Everybody's like right there in that train. And
I go back to what I say originally. I think this is going to be the most challenging championship, front to back, top to bottom, side to side, that GNCC. There might be a couple of runaway classes, but overall, I think everyone's going to find a lot of competition as we continue to look at the 4-stroke A lights, and you guys continue to watch this monitor for me. I got Tyler Soriano running in the number 4 spot of the 4-stroke A lights class behind the 130 of Travis Raynaud out of Stafford, Missouri. Frederick Bluin, by the way, rounds out the top 5. So it's McGee, Grindstaff, Raynaud, Soriano, and Bluin, your top 5 in the 4-stroke A lights class.
Would that be second place?
I think so.
And Mike Wachowski right on his rear wheel.
Yeah, so having a good XC2 battle for the podium spot.
Looking at the junior AB 25 plus class as we watch some of these other classes come through at the 4.5 mile marker, and you say the XC3 guys.
XC2. It was
that battle for second.
Second is Evan Smith and Witowski still right there.
Yep, right
and Johnny,
him.
I think.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if that was Johnny, the third
There's
driver.
Thad. They are pushing it right now. You can tell. Thad, Caleb, and Bollinger.
Throw a blanket right over those guys.
Yeah.
You could. There's it's crazy. They're all. I don't mean crazy, but it's neat how these guys are so.
I guess, evenly matched today.
Yeah,
I mean,
and going so fast.
Yeah, they're all on that same plane, that same higher level, that it seems, than anyone else. And, well, you can't take away from Ben Kelly either. I mean,
No,
can you
of course
imagine
not.
if he was with those guys, I mean, he might be able to ride that pace as well.
For sure. Like he's saying earlier, Ben's riding alone, so it's kind of hard. He's catching XC1s and it's pushing him, and it's keeping him going when he's passing them, but he's not really getting that pace. If he was riding with them, he probably could match the speed.
Junior AB 25-plus class we're looking at now as we watch the 7.5-mile marker. Andrew Matusik, the 85 from Franklin, Georgia, leading nearly 5 minutes now over Tyler Brunton. And Matusik was like third or fourth place at the end of that first lap. He has really wicked it up here in the last couple of laps. 203 Brunton again in second. 382 Landon Smith from Kingsport, Tennessee in third. Dustin Ulrich, the 53 of Trevorton, PA in fourth. And Andrew Boggs, the 46 from Masontown, West Virginia, rounding out the top five. That A30-plus class. Sam Forrester got the whole shot and hasn't looked back. 1 minute and 10 seconds out ahead of Nathan Allring now, the 375 from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Josh Toth, he's in fourth place right now. He's picked it up a little bit and pulled away from.
Looks like he's moving up about a position or two every race.
Yeah.
If he can hold this together, it's about halfway through the race here. So
impressive.
He's looking really strong.
So Nick Nyman running in the number 3 spot.
There's Stu. So Stu's not too far back from Josh either, and I don't know if Josh is pulling him or it's just a kind of a rubber band effect.
We got to take into consiration, we were seeing something at the end of that last lap. It seemed mechanical for Stu. And he's still maintaining a pretty good pace. So I'm not counting Stu out of this, moving up another spot or two before it's all said and done. Continuing to look at this Fed A class again, Sam Forrester, Nathan Allring, Nicholas Nyman in the number 3 spot, Luenzo Sanchez, the number 383 in fourth, and then we have Surly Amancio rounding out the top 5 in the Fed A 30-plus class. Senior A 40-plus class, Frank Messina got the whole shot. Smiling Frank. Smiling Frank, he's got a smile. You couldn't knock that thing off, smile off his face with a sledgehammer. The number 50 of he's out of Campbell Hall, New York. Real nice guy. The 880 Jeremy Dexter from Nelsonville, Ohio. 136 John Beaver is third out of Gray, Tennessee. Shotgun Sean Remington, 51 Machine out of New Salem, PA, in that fourth place position. And Frank Tussle from Scotch Plains, New Jersey, rounds out your top 5. You know Shotgun, don't you?
Oh yeah.
He hangs out with you guys over in
Yep. He's running allies.
And you know Pellet Gun
old
too?
Veteran. I do not.
You little Pellet Gun, his boy?
Oh, yeah. Shotgun and pellet gun. I got it. Just like Wibbs. Hatchet boy.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So Peyton Harden leading the Open V class aboard the 222 out of Stamping, Kentucky. The 461, Dustin Stanley out of Ocala, Florida, second. Dylan Turner, the 531 from Mill Spring, North Carolina, in third. 201, Justin Brazo out of Canada is fourth. And Craig Oberholzer, the 511 out of Alexis, North Carolina, formerly in my hometown, Jackson, Ohio, rounding out your top 5. Good to see him. Good kid. Looking at 250B class now, Garrick Orbester, Dylan Gore, running 1 and 2. Stockbridge, Georgia is where Orbester's from. Dylan Gore is Chapmanville, West Virginia. Jeffrey Snoofer out of Alquippa, Pennsylvania, running in third. 420, Bradley Chapman from Gastonia, North Carolina, in fourth. And James McElvain in fifth out of Havelock, North Carolina. In the 250B bike class, 200B class, Trent Gaither, the 366 from Olin, North Carolina, leading in second place. 404, Tanner Collins from Crooksville, Ohio. Third place position, Gino Bonacci out of West Mifflin, Pennsylvania. Max Rust in fourth out of Iron Station, North Carolina. And the 459, Patrick Murray out of Chester, Virginia. Is that the leaders going through there?
Yeah, and it looks like they're all neck and neck, just like we saw them before.
Wow, there is no change in that. The intensity level at which they're riding, I mean, just if you could bottle that up, man, you could probably power a city right now the way they're riding.
I think they know that it's coming up on the last hour, and they're all about ready to give it even more of a push. So it's going to.
I mean, how do they push? I mean, they've been pushing the whole time. What do they got left to push?
It's just a mental thing, and I think you got to dig even deeper, and everyone's going to even pick it up more speed, especially when they're all three right there pushing each other.
Right, and Grant, you might be able to answer this question too. I mean, you're one of those riders that pushes stronger. It seems like you're stronger toward the end of the race. What is it about the end of the race that inspires you to ride so much harder and so much faster?
I don't really know. Maybe it's that I'm going slower in the beginning. Usually I struggle with arm pump, but at the same time, I would say that I was going slower, so I was using less energy. But I would say I'm probably using more energy because I got arm pump and I'm all over the place and everything else. But so yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure why I've always been strong in the end, but my dad's always taught us. He's always driven it into our head. Push until the end. It's never over. It's never over until the checker flies. That's it.
And you guys have proved that point on more than one occasion by pushing like that. I think that's always impressive. Looking at 4-stroke B lights class now, Tyler Palmer, the 446 from Denver, North Carolina, leading the 413 of Hunter Cleveland from Aaron, New York. Third place then the 393 of Andrew Van Atta from Shelby, North Carolina. Alexander Patterson from Cambridge, Ohio in fourth, and the 702 of Ethan Schultz in fifth. Great Court, South Carolina.
Whoa! Stu just got a little bit hairy on the Yamaha hill there. Saved it quite well, though.
Wow,
he is pushing the envelope to try to make up that gap.
He's pushing right now. I think that's probably what we're looking at right there, huh?
Yeah, that tree almost had his name right on it.
Yeah. There's Aspirin.
Johnny Gallagher, I think, were you impressed or blown away?
That was the definition of a flying W.
The definition of a flying W. Johnny, here, get these batteries.
Here, thank you guys. I'm going to step out, but thank you for having me on.
Ricky Russell, thank you for being in here, buddy. We appreciate you being on board, being a part of things. Yeah, go watch that finish. I don't blame you. Ricky, he wants to be out there, so he can't be out there. He wants to be in the dirt. I don't blame him a bit.
It's fun chasing him around. It's different than racing.
Sucks feel out of place.
Racing. Yeah, I mean, it sucks not being out here racing, but it's cool at the same time. I get to come out here and help my friends out, my brother, my girlfriend, everybody. So, I'm definitely busy over the weekend anyway. So, I'm just as busy now as I was if I were racing.
Well, that's good, man. You're earning your paycheck then. That's a good thing.
Yep.
Travis Beam leading the Vet B30 Plus class out of Mooresville, North Carolina. Rodrigo Damas, the 389 from Roswell, Georgia, in second. Third place, the 406 William O'Brien from Whispering Pines, North Carolina. Fourth place then in the Vet B30 Plus class, the 698 of Scott Height from Johnston, South Carolina, and the 701 of Robert Creel from Taylor, South Carolina rounds out your top five as we're joined back in booth with Johnny Gallagher. And Johnny, we were watching this just a moment ago.
Here we see VP Fuels Pro Row. Thad Duvall leading the way, Caleb Russell second, and Trevor Bollinger in third. How often, 1 hour and 47 minutes into this thing, do we see three riders wheel to wheel to wheel like this? It looks like Duvall takes the drink bottle, Russell takes a drink bottle, and we're seeing triplets.
They're coming through the finish here. Will this be a 7-lap race with an hour 47?
Wow, that's a good question. Lap times, what are we looking at?
Should be 6 laps.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I would think.
Wait, how many laps are they? 3 laps?
This would be 4 laps complete.
Lap 4 complete. So, and that puts us at an hour and 47 minutes. Running 26-minute lap time, so we had another 26 on that. That's going to put us at about 2:15.
Okay. Yeah,
we could have another 7 lap. It could be. I don't know. I'm not going to make that call. But
if we do 26 minutes twice, that would be 52 minutes. Yeah. We're at an hour 47, so that would put us at
just below
240.
It would be 240. Yeah, it'd be just
really
shy
close.
if they keep up the pace of the hour.
Yeah.
Or 2 hours.
And that's the cutoff, correct? 240?
245.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's 245. They may have changed this year. I'm not sure, but we'll find out whenever we get around to that. But I mean, they try to get it as close to 3 hours as possible without going over or too much over. And right now, that's what I guess.
Is Josh Toth there on screen? The 206 FMF factory KTM, and he is, I believe he is still in that 6th place spot. I didn't see Stu come through. Did you see him there, Grant?
He should be just behind Josh here.
Okay.
Last time I saw he was about 10 or 15 off of Josh, and then, another 10 until Ashburn.
There he is right there.
Yeah.
So that little drama with Stu last lap. I was actually standing down there trying to get some interviews, and unfortunately the way this course is laid out, it's excellent for the crews and the mechanics, because what they're able to do is the course comes kind of cloverleafs its way back to the pits so many times. As soon as the riders come through the pits, they hop on their pedal assist bicycles and they take off, and they go catch them as many spots as they can, which is great for them, terrible for us. I'm trying to get interviews, and these guys are running away from me on pedal assists, and if I could, I'd do a mobile interview and just pedal next to them, but I'm not sure that would work out so well. Here we see Jordan Ashburn, the 127 Babbitt's online Kawasaki machine, and there is his teammate, the 114 of Josh Strang, the freight train. He's charging hard, trying to get up there to battle for a top 5 position. Ooh, getting a little sideways there, but yeah, speaking of sideways, how about Stu there? Sheet off the pegs, flying W, and for a moment there, it almost looked like he was going to clock that tree, and then he was able to save it. That's kind of, not that it's cool to see Stu get out of control, but it's cool to see those moments, because it really shows you what these guys go through, and after the race, they're always talking about how many close calls they had and how many times you crashed, and
those of us watching at home or even here in the booth are like, well, we didn't see any of that. Well, today we got to see one of those near, ooh boy moments. There we see Ben Kelly on screen, and here is the replay. Watch this, folks. You can see feet off, blows off his right foot, left foot comes flying off. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it looked like there's a little chicane there, and there's a bank on the right side and a bank on the left side, and they're trying to jump off that right bank and straighten out the chicane a little bit. And you can see all the pro guys come through there. You can see them come off the ground there and jump straight, and everybody else is chicaning through there and making 2 turns. So he just barely clipped the edge on that right side, it looked like to me, and blew his foot off. And after that, he was holding on.
He rode it out. You got to give him credit there, that's for sure. Hey, I got one more amateur class I want to run through real quick, and then we'll turn back to some pro stuff. But this will give us our senior B40 plus class of Igor Soares out of Marlborough, Massachusetts. Got the whole shot in that class. He's still leading after 2. Jeff Galbraith, the 593 from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, in second. Third place, the 417 of Mike Horwood out of Normalville, Pennsylvania. Fourth place, the 424 is Jason Wilson out of Roanoke, West Virginia. And fifth place, the 931 of Darren Darmos there, rounding out the top 5 in the senior B40 plus class. As we check back in with our leaders, we see that Thad Duvall again still leading this one. Caleb Russell in second and Trevor Bollinger in third. They are that tight together, nose to tail, first to third, and Trevor Bollinger in search of his first win. Can he do it? A first here in front of the hometown crowd. Stick around. GNCC Racing will continue right after this.
And I'm gonna go watch some racing, so I'll be going for the day.
It's tough love. It's the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. It would seem difficult for someone to want to sign up for a task like running to 2 or 3 hours through the woods in some of the toughest conditions around. But that's what GNCC Racing is all about. Stay tuned with us. RacerTV.com with more GNCC Live.
Your bearings shoulder the burden whenever you tow, haul, or stomp the gas. AMSOIL delivers powerful protection for bearings and other critical components so you can drive with confidence. To demonstrate, an independent lab put AMSOIL synthetic motor oil head-to-head against a leading competitor in a 100,000-mile test. AMSOIL provided far superior wear protection and kept engine bearings looking like new. Get your truck the protection it deserves at amsoil.com/auto.
The 2019 Yamaha YXZ 1000R sets a new standard for all sports side-by-sides, offering increased performance and expanded drivability over a wider variety of terrain, improved overall comfort, and Yamaha-proven off-road durability. There's no other side-by-side like it, not even close.
This Racer TV broadcast is brought to you by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. Specialized Turbo e-bikes, it's you, only faster. And by Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready.
And welcome back to GNCC Live. Rodney Tomlin along with Johnny Gallagher, and that right there is the legendary Barry Hawk and another legend, Jason Wygant, the Weege, the voice of NBC Sports.
Look at him. He knows he's on camera there. He's putting his arm around Barry. He's been ditching us all day long. Said he was going to come in here and help us call the race. And now he's hiding from us.
Yeah, he don't want to.
No, it's my day off. I'm out.
Yeah, he's all right. I mean, I'd love to have him come in, but I understand. But he raced out there.
He did.
He rode out there this morning.
No, he raced. He got 4 laps in out of 5.
Oh, did he really? Wow, yeah. I'm impressed with Jason Wygant. For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. He got 4 laps in.
Well, I tell you what, there's Barry Hawk, and Barry Hawk, definitely a legend in GNCC racing, a legend in, this particular event right here as well. There's so many stories to tell about Barry Hawk, but the best one comes as a part of our Yamaha history.
This week in Yamaha history, at the 2007 FMF Steele Creek GNCC, an unseasonably warm day produced one of the greatest spectacles in the 45-year history of Grand National cross country racing. As temperatures reached into the upper 80s, the action on the track matched the conditions. Legends Shane Watts, Barry Hawk, and Glenn Kearney were locked in a three-man breakaway. Nearing the 3-hour mark of the race on the final lap, Glenn Kearney and Yamaha-mounted Barry Hawk emerged from the final wood section in an epic nose-to-tail battle. In the closing moment on his Yamaha, Barry Hawk made the final pass in the final turn, giving him the win. An exhausted Glenn Kearney and Shane Watts rounded out second and third. But Yamaha's Barry Hawk was the only rider able to make it to the podium, as the others were too exhausted to attend. And that's this week in Yamaha history.
You know, Rodney, I think that right there sums up the career of Barry Hawk. Not that that was his only win. I believe he had 68 of them, 67 of them, something like that. But what, to me, really makes that one stand out is Barry Hawk didn't win that by being the fastest rider. When I say that, clearly he was the first one to cross the finish line, which made him fastest. But he wasn't the fastest rider all day. He wasn't the guy that had the best bike set up and the flashiest riding style and everything else, which is so often, you know, what everybody strives to be. Barry Hawk was a grinder. He always was. Yep. He worked, and then when he was done working, he worked a little more, and you know, he just flat out wore those guys out. And you know, he was probably hurting just as bad as they were, but you know, he just found a way within himself to just keep digging across the finish line, and then dug a little more to find the energy to go to the podium. So kudos to him. Hats off to Barry on a phenomenal career.
Well, I imagine that podium was probably all pure adrenaline.
Yeah. He probably went back to the camper, curled up in a ball, had water dumped on him. But he's a tough guy, and he's out there still mentoring and helping so many of our younger GNCC riders. And out there yesterday in the specialized e-mountain bike race, in the amateur class, I believe it was, and had a pretty good finish for himself.
Yeah, he finished third or second in the class, if I'm not mistaken.
Very cool.
He was. He said that he wasn't really planning on doing that. His son, Talon, is the one that got him into that. And ironically, Talon, never really much of a racer, never really wanted to race, but they got the e-bikes. And we started talking about doing it here, and he said, Dad, I want to give that a try.
You know, I remember when they got their team, the Coastal team there, got the high bike sponsorship from a bicycle company, and you know, he would post videos of his son out riding it in the yard and jumping the driveway. And he said, you know, Talon's always been liked bicycles, but the pedal assist really took it to the next level. Obviously, this year with Specialized stepping on board with GNCC and helping make the e-mountain bike series a reality, it's providing quite a few riders and family members and distant relatives and even people that have no relation to GNCC an opportunity to come out, check out what we do, and actually participate. There's stories that just go on and on of
we're getting a report now. I'm sorry to jump in here.
Yeah, absolutely. No, take over.
I've just got a report that Trevor Bollinger is out front, Thad Duvall in second, and Caleb Russell now in the number 3 spot. And that coming from a race fan that just picked up things over there. Actually, Jimmy Robinson, more than a race fan, he is a race dad, so to speak, Jesse Robinson's dad, and he's pretty stoked because actually Jimmy's from right around this area too. So you know he's pulling for Trevor today, as I'm sure probably 10,000 people that are here today are doing just the exact same thing, pulling for Trevor Bollinger. And with those kind of odds right now, you got to wonder, now that he's up front, we've got a little over an hour of racing left to go, Johnny. Is he in the position that he needs to be in to make this happen?
Well, there we see Jesse Ansley, the one of our front runners in the XC3 Pro Lights class. Pro Am class. We'll have to look and see if we can get an update on exactly where he's running at the moment. But absolutely, Trevor Bollinger, the hometown boy, the local favorite, and as Grant Baylor pointed out, we found out was nicknamed the Dale Earnhardt of Morgantown, West Virginia. West Virginia.
North Carolina.
North Carolina. My bad. Sorry. And but I did notice today, Rodney, I don't know if you picked up on it, on the starting line, there must be something to this. There must be more to the story. Maybe Trevor could tell us all about it. Did you happen to catch his butt patch on the starting line?
No, I didn't.
It said the Intimidator. So obviously he's embraced the Dale Earnhardt of Morganton moniker, and he's going to run with it. So when I saw it, I didn't know the significance, and I thought, well, I don't know, maybe we'll get the story if he has a good finish today. So Grant Baylor helping us out, giving us the point of exactly how that may have gotten started there. So the Intimidator, Trevor Bollinger, has taken over the lead. The hometown boy leads
I'll tell you
one.
what, you've got a lot of fans, and Dale Earnhardt had a lot of fans, and they're thick, man. I mean, and believe me, I'd say that's exactly, they see that hunger, that fire, that desire in Trevor, the whole, just that good old boy type attitude. I mean, because Trevor's not a flashy guy by no stretch of the imagination. One of the most humble people that you'll ever meet, amazingly. And our leaders due in less than a minute. We're going to get a chance to see right here at the 4.5-mile marker if Trevor's able to hang on to that lead. You ask about Jesse Ansley. Also, he is up to a third-place position in the FMF XC3 class. He is 1 minute and 8 seconds behind Cody Barnes, who is 1 second behind Jason Thomas. So he's about 1 minute 10 out of the lead right now. He is currently running about a 30-second slower lap time than those guys, or at least that last time around. So who knows if he can make up that minute or not. But Jesse Ansley is making up some time and positions on the racetrack right now. Johnny, back here on the 4.5-mile marker, the infamous Steele Creek Bridge. Not near the spectator spectacle as it has been in years past. But as we know, we've got some really great hill climbs now that afford our fans a lot of cool places to go watch, so not as many people down in this area as there used to be. But
here we go. Here's our leaders. Caleb Russell now back to the front.
Wow.
The number 1 machine has taken over the point position. Second place is Bollinger. Third place is Duvall. So that is how they run. They're shaking it up. It seems like every time we see him on camera, it's different, and every time we hear about it off camera, it's different again.
So you can only imagine the stories that's going to be told after this one, huh?
Yeah, I mean, and I think even those guys alluded to it on the podium at the last race. They said, we usually hear about there in Georgia, you hear 4 or 5 passes a lap, and I think it was Caleb that said, today there was only 4 or 5 passes all day. So, sometimes it's deceiving one way, and sometimes it's deceiving another. Today, it seems like they've been mixing it up a lot, but afterwards we'll find out if the only passes were the ones we saw on camera. But I have a feeling that's not going to be the case, because this course is very dynamic. There's a lot of different facets to it. It provides, great racing conditions, although one would argue or say that not many passing opportunities, but these guys proving that theory absolutely wrong today.
Yeah, for sure. As let's take a real quick look at our overall top 10 after 4 laps to give you an idea here at the 2-hour mark how things are shaping up. Well, the Duvall, Russell, Bollinger. It's actually Russell, Bollinger, Duvall now 1, 2, and 3. Josh Toth back in the number 4 spot. Stu Baylor in 5th. Ben Kelly running in the number 6 spot. Jordan Ashburn, the 127, in 7th. Josh Strang is 8th. 9th place, Andrew DeLong. And rounding out the top 10 is Jonathan Gerard and Johnny, the other Johnny G, so to speak. He's got a lot to live up to get that name. I don't know if I want to call him that or not. But anyway, Jonathan Gerard, 10th place. He's 2nd in class, so that means we got 2 XC2 guys in that top 10 right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And those guys have been really doing well this year. It seems the XC2 class has a tendency to get stronger. Here's Stu Baylor. He's back up now to Josh Toth again, just a couple of seconds off him. But I think we saw a rear. Nope. Thought I saw a green fender behind him, but that was not Ashburn. We still are waiting for the 127 of Jordan Ashburn. That is not him there yet either. So it appears Stu Baylor is stretched out a little bit over the Babbitt's Online Racing Kawasaki machine of Jordan Ashburn, and then also I believe right behind him is Josh Strang. So it seems like most of this year we've seen talking about the Cowie team a little bit, we've seen those guys kind of flying in formation. Seems like they've been riding together a lot. Strang, I believe, taking the 5th place position at our last race in Georgia, and right around there in Florida as well. Surely not where those. Oh, look at that, Caleb Russell bottoming out there. Looks like he is still right there with Trevor Bollinger on his rear wheel. Thad Duvall just behind him there in 3rd. Rodney, sometimes does it seem like Groundhog Day when we watch these battles? I mean, 14 days ago, we watched the same battle unfold. It's Russell, it's Bollinger, it's Duvall, it's Duvall, it's Bollinger, it's Russell, and here we are 14 days later. The venue may change, but the storyline stays the same. There was Josh Strang, and I believe he was right behind his teammate of Jordan Ashburn.
And you hear people talk about sprinting and this, that, and the other. On the last lap or the last 2 laps, could we theoretically say that these guys sprint from the drop of the green flag? Because I don't know. I mean, they pick up the pace sometimes, but it just seems like it's an all-out sprint from the word go for these. And they never seem to slow down. Rarely do they ever seem to slow down and fall into a pace anymore, at least the front 3 or 4 guys that we've watched battle like this.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think they push the pace throughout the entirety of this 3 hours. I think the only thing that we see, I would say it's a sprint for 3 hours with what one might call an somewhat at-speed warm-up lap. Because if you look at the XC1 guys, it's been common for many years to see the XC2 guys get up there on that first lap, and I think it's kind of an effect of a number of things, the first of which being those XC1 guys are breaking trail. You kind of don't know what's around the next corner. A lot of times their lines develop a lot differently than the morning race does because of the difference in speed. In the morning you have the WXC class and some Sportsman A guys that are out there running the pace of afternoon racers. The rest of the riders are going considerably slower, so the lines, the ruts, the bumps develop differently. But once you get, say, 12 XC1 riders through there and that rut has changed, it kind of creates a better racing surface for the guys behind them. And I know that may sound crazy that we've got 300 and some odd riders out here in the afternoon that are going to do 6, possibly 7 laps. So do the math on that. Roughly 2,100 laps put on this track of individuals. But if you do the math on that and figure out that even just those first 10 tire tracks do change the track enough that it gets faster as it goes. So I think that's what really aids the XC2 guys on the first lap and always has. But from then on, I think the XC1 guys just absolutely pin it and sprint. Actually we've got, it looks like Grant Baylor stopped back by. We're talking about how just how it is that things come to be that it seems it's almost a sprint these days. But I think that first lap, the XC1 guys are kind of at a disadvantage over XC2, which is why we see a lot of times, not just today with Ben Kelly, but with yourself in the past, it's almost an advantage being in that second row both mentally and you feel there's a difference in the physicality of the racetrack from even just those 10 or 12 guys going through and kind of developing a good line for you? Or how'd that work for you in the past?
Yeah, definitely. Those guys, they have the best lines. They have the best lines out of everybody out there. They're the best in the world. So, yeah, they got a good line, and you can tell they all hit the same line. So you got a good little path beaten, and on top of that, there's only 12, 15 XC1 guys. There's not too many guys to pass, and all those guys are super fast. So when you do catch them, they're not really holding you up any. And so if you can get around them and catch those faster guys and tag along, man, you're in for a ride for the whole 3 hours.
So it's almost like runway lights on an airstrip.
That makes sense.
It's leading you to the fast way around the racetrack. If you go and you're Caleb Russell or you're Thad Duvall or you're yourself in that XC1 class and you're leading on lap 1, nothing makes sense. You're kind of looking at hieroglyphics or Braille. It's these ruts don't make sense. The lines aren't flowing the way they should, and it's kind of a struggle to kind of find your rhythm for that first lap. But then once those guys kind of beat in a path, it's easier for the guys behind them to follow.
That makes complete sense. It really does.
Yeah, definitely. And I just found out what was going on with Stewart, so I came over to get an update.
Okay.
He whenever you saw his bike shutting off behind the pits, he was running out of fuel.
Oh wow.
So yeah, he did not fuel on lap 2. He tried to go 3, and as you can tell, he ran out of fuel about 300 yards short.
So Grant was in here, and we asked him, we said, what is it with you guys and the fuel? He said, we can only do an hour. That's it, only an hour. And Stu basically tried to go an hour 18. Hour 18. So apparently Stu's clock was broken. They calculated it very close. I mean, he could see the semi from where he was at.
That was a close one, yeah.
Yeah, and I had that happen at Big Buck on the Husqvarna for KR4. I remember I rolled all the way from the KTM truck into the pits. Stewart's on Josh Toth here.
There is Stu, and he is right to the rear wheel of the 206 machine of Josh Toth, and that is a battle over 4th place. So Stu, coming from all the way back after being, starting his bike early, shutting it off, getting a bad start, being penalized, running out of fuel, blowing his feet off the foot pegs, and he's still up here battling for a 4th place spot with Josh Toth. Now it's a far bridge to cross for those guys to get to the top 3 right now, but you just never know how this one's going to shake out, because right now the top 3 are absolutely laying it all on the line. They're taking every risk, every chance, and they're absolutely maxed out. And Rodney, you were talking a little bit ago about the sprint. You know that these guys are pushing because Thad and Caleb have both. I don't know that Trevor has or does, but those guys document their heart rate, which essentially shows your effort level. Those guys document it, and they're not shy about putting it on social media or talking about it. It's not something they're trying to hide, which is rare. You wouldn't see that from a motocross athlete. They kind of try and hide that information. These guys are showing you right out, hey, we're putting it in zone 5, which is your optimum
output level, there is Jordan Ashburn, your sixth place rider, the 127 machine, and just behind him we should see, there he is, Josh Strang, his teammate. But these guys, they're up in the 180s.
Funny thing was looked like Ashburn second, maybe.
No, it was Ashburn was ahead, and then Strang was second, and then right behind them is Ben Kelly. Yeah. So, these guys are pushing. They're not messing around. They're running moto pace for the better part of 3 hours.
And it seems to me too. I mean, watching this one, if I remember back, and I'm remembering correctly, it seemed like until maybe the last lap and a half, there wasn't a lot of tight race. I mean, up front in the XC1, yeah, but I mean, a lot of these other classes and farther behind them, it seemed like everybody had gapped each other. But this week, we've had those battles where there's 2 and 3 and guys moving up through the pack and creating more battles. This track, I don't know if it's the conditions, I don't know if it's the terrain, the number of riders out on the course, but it's really producing great racing conditions in several different positions throughout the entire field of riders that we're seeing out here. I mean, like we said, we got the 3-man breakaway. We're seeing what's happening.
Rodney, we've got a breakaway. Caleb Russell has broken away from Thad Duvall and Trevor Bollinger. Not by much, but by about 4 to 5 seconds there.
That's about the biggest lead we've seen.
He just came behind the booth here, and he was third. So
yeah, he was leading when we saw him down at the bridge. He got it. They shook things up there.
So you saw Trevor out front too, then, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, Trevor was leading, Duvall was second, Russell was third. Then when we saw him at the bridge, Caleb was leading, Trevor was second, Duvall third. Now they've switched it up again. Well, Caleb's still leading, but he's got about a 4 or 5 second lead. Duvall in second, and Bollinger back to third. So these guys are shaking it up, and you got to wonder when we're talking about sprinting, is this where Caleb Russell puts in the push to try and shake those guys?
That's a good point.
Was it an opportunity where, a lapper got in between, so he's just going to see if he can shake it out? We'll wait and we'll watch and we'll see.
That's a very good point. We may think they're sprinting, but they haven't even started the sprint yet, or 1 or 2 of them may not.
Yeah, and like you said about these guys being grouped up today, I remember race 2013. Aaron Plessinger showed up. He's been racing moto, full time at the time. So it was cool to see him show up and running XC2 at the time. It was me and Aaron Plessinger, Jason Thomas, and Andrew DeLone. And we had a 4-way battle from the start to the finish. It was the craziest race ever. It was a blast. We went at it. I mean, we were every lap we were in a different position.
3 hour strong battle. I mean,
this track produces that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's going to ask, how often do you see those types of battles? I mean, we see them quite often between Thad. Sometimes Trevor's been getting up there and battling with Caleb too. But I mean, in reality, how often do you see a 3-4 man battle for 3 straight hours like that?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, these guys. Well, part of it, I'd say, Stewart's all over Josh here.
This is a battle. Speaking of battles, here's another one.
Yeah,
and this track absolutely does provide. It's funny. It provides good racing, but not, at least on the ATV side of things, not much passing. And I think you were even saying on the bikes as well, it's kind of hard to pass.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard. I mean, the trail is just as wide for one ATV, so I don't know how you guys do it, but I mean, it makes it hard enough for bikes to pass because, I mean, 2 sets of handlebars is as wide as the trail. So, you really got to make it happen and push that.
And I think that is part of what creates the great racing here is the fact that it's kind of confined. On some of our other tracks, there's so many lines, there's so many passing opportunities, and it's so wide open that the rider that is clearly going the fastest gets to the front and pulls away. Here, what we see more cases than not is sometimes the rider that's the fastest isn't even leading, and when he does get to lead, it's hard for him to get away because then you throw lappers in the mix, and it only further complicates the issue. Now Bollinger back into second, and Duvall into third. So those guys have shaken it up 3 times on camera here. But again, we do see that tiny little gap. I don't think it's anything for Bollinger and Duvall to worry about, but they don't want to rest on their laurels too much. That's for sure.
All right, wrapping up lap number 5 right here. We'll be in the 2 hour, 14-minute range, I think, whenever they come, maybe 2:15 range. Wow, this is going to be cutting it close. So we're going to see a 2-lap board or a white flag or anything.
We see fuel.
Yes, we do see fuel.
These guys so they probably know by this point, they've done the calculation, they know how much time they have left in the race. Wow, that was a quick pit stop.
I was going to say a very quick pit stop. They didn't look like they were putting a lot. Either he didn't have to take much or they didn't feel like they were going to need much, one of the two.
Yeah, I did see the last lap they were coming through. They were still getting the caution flag, so maybe this lap we'll see the 2-lap card.
We'll see. We'll follow these guys through the finish, and then we will know
Caleb Russell probably already through the finish line or coming to it.
Ray Russell checked in 2 hours, 13 minutes, and 34 seconds.
And Ricky Russell has the 2-lap card out. So that'll mean a
7 laps.
7-lap race.
Yeah, we just wrapped up 5.
So that was lap 5, yes. Yeah,
6 and 7 still to go. So that's going to put us
about 3:05, yeah.
Yeah, 3 hours and, right about there, 3 hours and 5 minutes, give or take.
Yep.
Phew, 3 hours, maybe 3:07 even, if they keep up. What was that lap at 26 again?
Yeah, 26:37, 26:14 for Thad Duvall, actually, and 26:13 for Bollinger, and both those riders checked in behind Caleb Russell.
Yeah, so that's...
wait a minute, never mind. That was lap 4. Yeah. That was their times on lap 4. Let's compare their lap times on lap 5. 26:47, so they had slowed down a little bit. It was
so nearly 27 minutes, and the elapsed time was 2 hours and basically 14, well, 2:13:34 for Caleb. So they were 20 seconds short of that being a white flag right there, which means if you're doing the math, and say they keep up that same near 27-minute lap time. Caleb was at 26:37, 26:47, 26:51. So even at 26 and a half, that would be 53 minutes for 2 laps. So 53 minutes added to 2 hours and 13 minutes comes to 2 hours and 6 minutes and 34 seconds, give or take. So they're going to be, 3 hours and 6 minutes. Sorry, I'm thinking ATVs here. Adam correcting me. My math sucks. 3 hours and 6 minutes. So this one's going for a full pull, boys.
Yeah, and that's not too bad. I mean, when you look at the grand scheme of things, other than maybe sometimes that might be on average 15 minutes longer than a normal GNCC, because a lot of times we see a 250, 255 lap time or a race time, sometimes right at 3 hours, but and sometimes just a little over. We've seen it a lot over before. I don't think that's going to be the case today. And the conditions, they actually may warrant a little over a 3 hour race today and give us a little better show, because, I mean, perfect racing conditions. It's sunny and bright out. It's beautiful, you can see, but at the same time, there's no dust. The temperatures are great for riding in. You don't have to worry about overexerting yourself and feeling like the weather is taking it from you, the heat or anything like that. So maybe there's going to be a lot more energy here towards that 3rd hour mark there at the actual 3 hour mark that might produce something really spectacular for the last lap.
I don't know, man. This is a really rough track. This is one of the roughest tracks. Oh, there goes
Caleb Russell getting sideways there.
Same spot as Stewart. Same spot. So must be something grabbing those guys there. But
so as we watch Caleb crest that hill at 17:09. Let's see what the gap is. He went past that tree. Oh, Trevor Bollinger is down, folks. Bollinger is down. And he's over the top of Bollinger's bike. Duvall gets stuck as well. They both hold up. Now they're taking off. We can get the time on the top of the screen. I can tell you what the split is, but it's gone. Oh, no, there it is. 27:19, or 29, so that is 20 seconds now that Caleb Russell has a lead after that.
And they just lost 10 seconds or so on that particular little incident.
They would have been about 10 seconds, but that incident right there cost Trevor Bollinger about 10 seconds. Now, Thad Duvall was a few seconds gone by the time that time came up, but 15 plus is the gap right now for sure, even back to Thad Duvall. And that was unfortunate right there. Bollinger, you could see, just got sideways. He tried to dab, and next thing you knew, he was laying in the crowd.
Yeah, it looked like those guys were losing some traction going off that hill. Bollinger and Caleb both broke loose there and got a little sideways, but Bollinger ended up just dumping it over.
Now, Grant, one more thing I was going to ask you about, when we're watching, Caleb is kind of known to push this pace and try and shake those guys. And what Thad has done so well, and you've done many races in the past, is to be able to kind of mount a counterattack to Caleb's attack. How does that play out when you're out there racing? You kind of, obviously you guys study your competition. At some point he's going to launch that attack, it seems, and he kind of plays his cards close to the chest, and he doesn't always do it on the same lap or with the same amount of time left. He kind of lets it come to him. What's the indication to you that that's starting to happen? You physically see a change in his riding style, or is it just somebody gives you a pip board and says, hey, it's 15 seconds, it was 5 a mile ago, you better pick it up? How does that play out, and how does that feel when it happens?
Oh, it kind of puts you down when he definitely, when he puts some time on you like that. But it is. You definitely got to be right on those guys. And
your brother just
just
passed Josh Toth.
Yeah.
And I was getting ready to ask you, what do you think's going on with your brother? He charged up to the back of Toth and wasn't able to make the pass or do anything, and he answered that question.
Yeah, I mean, like I was just saying, this track's really hard to pass on, and there's only a few spots out here you can pass. And like you were just saying, racing against Caleb, we'll save lines until the end of the race. We won't hit a line all day, and it may just be like a little line we found on Saturday or whatever, but we can save little lines that are just good enough to make a block pass and get in front of those guys.
Yeah, that is on screen is Jesse Ansley's grandfather, and also George, who is helping out with both Jesse and Johnny Gerard in that XC2 Pro Lights class, and then obviously Jesse in the XC3 Pro Am class. And they've got P2 plus 48. So I believe
he's gaining on them, because it was a minute 7 when last we checked. Remember?
Or is that pit board for Gerard? It could be for either. So we don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, let's see who's got 48 seconds on the other.
Yeah.
Here it comes. That is for Gerard. He would not be going by yet if it was Ansley. That is Johnny Gerard there. Yep. So that is your XC2 second place rider. Plus 48, I believe that means he is 40 seconds ahead of the third place rider, because he is a good little ways behind the leader, Ben Kelly.
2 minutes and 33 seconds behind Kelly when they checked in at the end of lap number 4. And I would assume,
there is Strang headed up the Monster Mile, and he does have Ben Kelly right behind him. So the XC2 Pro Lights leader is directly behind Josh Strang, the 114 machine. And I think we did see or miss Jordan Ashburn going through there. So Ashburn's still in that number 6 spot. Oh, no! Strang has gotten around Ashburn. Here is Ashburn. I stand corrected. And so Strang now putting in a charge, and those guys have put some time on Ashburn, so you have to wonder, did Ashburn go down? Did he? Look at this. Speaking of lappers, we got riders coming backwards down the Monster Mile.
Yep. Second guessing that one a little bit.
2 of them. Here comes another one. It's like a secondary. Oh! You got to make that on-the-fly adjustment. There is a way around this. There's an alternate route. They're pointing and saying, hey, you can go there. There's the sign that says easy way.
Right now, watching this Monster Mile to mile and a half, we were talking about Ben Kelly is leading Johnny Gerard now by 3 minutes, call it. 2 minutes, 59.7 seconds. Evan Smith is 48 seconds behind now in third, so we have lost Michael Witkowski out of the top 3.
Rodney, what we're seeing here is a guy who's making a second go at the Monster Mile. To give you an idea of how tough this hill is, we see riders parked, coming back down it, and this guy, number 77 on his jersey, I don't know if that's his riding number or not, he's given it a second go, and he makes it up the second time. So if at first you don't succeed, try again.
Well, I tell you, the amateurs, you sit and you watch, and we focus a lot on these pro riders, and the amateur riders do too. Believe it or not, they're out there racing with those guys, and it's a great feeling for them to know that they're racing on the same track with Caleb Russell and with Thad Duvall, any of those guys. It's just got to make you feel really good to know that you're racing on the same track. And what's really cool is if you can race one of their bikes. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
Remember a few years ago, Caleb Russell had the season where he raced every brand of bike or every size bike darn near down to the 150 that KTM made. Yeah. Oh, well, that was Watts that did that. But Caleb kind of followed in those footsteps, and he went down to a 150cc motorcycle that they built for him, and they ended up giving that motorcycle away at the Ironman GNCC a few years ago. And amazingly, the kid that won it wasn't even a racer, as we watch these amateurs make their way up through.
Well, amateurs, but we also had a number of pro riders just go up there, and they had to go off to the left, off the side of the hill, Rodney. It was Andrew DeLong, the 410, and I'm not sure who else was in there, but they were blocked by the riders in that main line, and they had to go off to the left. The spectators grabbed them, and that hill's getting tricky. That could play in here in these last laps of racing. There is Johnny Gerard, one of our XC2 Pro Lights riders, running second. But yes, the amateurs, these guys here, they're the backbone of this. And as you said, it was, pretty cool that he did that raffle. And
Yeah, and a kid named Jesse Branson actually won that bike. Hadn't raced up to that point, but man, winning that bike changed his life. And we actually caught up with Jesse this week as he is our Amateur of the Week, Jesse Branson.
My name is Jesse Branson, and I ride 200C 16 plus. Before I won Caleb's bike, I went to races with my dad and all my friends and buddies, and seeing them out there, they were having a great time. I was just sitting there helping them pit. And then we went to Ironman in 2014, and I won Caleb's bike. And man, that was just amazing. Getting that piece of memorabilia from Caleb and like having that bike was just awesome. And it like it sparked a fire in me, and I wanted to race and wanted to be out there with them and see how I would do against the people in GNCC. And so ever since then, I've been trying to get to these events and race and do my best. Caleb's bike is actually sitting in my living room right now in a bike stand. So whenever we go in the front door, I get to see it, and I'm like, man, I want to be there someday. I want to be able to ride one of those bikes. And I'm actually riding like a replica, a 150 XCW. So racing's been good for me this year. I've had a few races that were like destroyed, and you didn't want to be out there for 2 hours. And racing back at the local series, we still race for 2 hours, and like the competition's there. Like you got all the local guys, all the local pros running your class, but you come to a GNCC event, it's like everybody from everywhere, all the pros come together, and it's like the competition's still there in the local series, but here it's like so much harder to get up front and battle with the guys up front. If I had to describe GNCC in one word, it'd be demanding. Because if you want to get up front and run with these guys, you got to put in the time and effort off the track. You got to go to the gym, get ready, and then you come here, you just got to take whatever the GNCC crew throws at you. They throw a big hill, you got to find a way up it. And if you go down, you got to get back up and just roll with the punches. I'd like to thank a few people that helped me out. PE Reliable Services, Highfield Door Sales, KRW, Cycle Gear, and the GNCC crew for putting on a great series, and of course God for keeping me safe out there week in to week out.
Wow, what an amazing story there. There is a rider that had never raced GNCC, had never really had any inclination that he was going to race GNCC, and a simple raffle changed his life. Now he has that piece of memorabilia from Caleb Russell sitting in his living room, and he is an avid GNCC racer himself. And who knows, with a story like that, someday we may be talking about him battling up in our XC2 class or XC3 Pro-Am or even our XC1 class, battling guys like Caleb Russell. And that's the beautiful thing about GNCC racing, Rodney, is it's an everyman sport. Even at the highest level, anyone that can get their hands on a motorcycle and has the drive to get out there and go give it a go can go out and race on the very same track as Caleb Russell, Thad Duvall, Trevor Bollinger. And that man right there, Trevor Bollinger, is another story. We've talked about it already, but let's talk about it one more time. He's a guy that got brought into racing because of this event, being the notoriety that it brought to this town in all the years. Because you got to think back. I mean, Trevor Bollinger was barely born when this event started, so he's grown up around GNCC racing 10 minutes away. Came to this event before he even started racing, and then ultimately started racing the local Middies Terra Scramble Series. Evolved in, said, "Hey, I want to try my hand at a GNCC," and now he's out there battling for a win at the home track where it all started for him. And just like Jesse, he was out there, and again, it started from a simple, hey, let's go to this race. We bought a raffle ticket, and now it's weaved into the fabric of his life.
It is, and Jesse Branson, that story is just amazing. From what I understand, they've only started it once and ridden it once or something. I mean but that's a great inspiration.
Man, I'd rip that thing.
Oh, I would too. I would too.
Here's our leaders. There is the man who gave that bike away, Caleb Russell, the #1 FMF KTM. Second place there is, it looks to be now Duvall in second, Bollinger third. So that 15-second gap, 20-second gap that we saw at the Monster Mile has been erased.
And you saw what might have been the cause of that. We saw Caleb running right up under that bridge, and there was lap traffic just ahead of him. So that might have been what actually slowed him down, and or gave those guys an opportunity to catch up. But wow, yeah, I mean, you see them 1 minute, they're 8-10 seconds apart or 15 seconds apart. You see them a couple miles later, and here they are nose to tail again. This has been, and I hate to keep using this word, but a whale of a battle today, man. I mean, it's been huge. It's been monumental, epic. I mean, there's so many names and so many words that you could throw at this that barely even describe, I think, the intensity that is being put forth on that track right now.
Absolutely, Rodney. And, we talked about how this track really does
offer tight racing, and I think there's a number of factors there. We talked about the fact that it's kind of a one-line track. It's difficult to pass on, but what I was starting to say when we were talking about that with Grant was the lappers are really even another kind of another element that the riders have to deal with. And in this afternoon race, I don't know exactly how many riders there are, but I believe it's around 300. So 300 riders spread around about a 10.5 mile track. So it makes for, these guys are doing a lot of passing, even though they're not actually passing anyone in their class or anyone that they're racing against. They're passing riders that are out there racing in those, amateur classes and age classes, and even some of the back markers in the XC3 and XC2 class. These XC1 guys are working their way past. And, firsthand, I was out there this morning, and it was crazy in that 10 a.m. race. There was just so many riders in this track, and it really is another element. And it really does just show how many people want to try their hand at GNCC racing, and once they actually get here and realize it's a whole lot harder than it looks on television.
Yeah, no doubt. And those ruts and bumps we see are a lot bigger. And there's Stu Baylor making his way past the 4.5 mile marker. Still pretty solid. Had a really good day, all things considered. I mean, talking to him this morning, he wasn't well. You could tell it, you could see it, you could hear it in his voice. And he wasn't, you know what he said? I want a top 5 today. That's all I care about. If I can get top 5, salvage some points, I'll be satisfied with that. And that's right where he's riding right now.
Well, I'll tell you what, he is 4th. And I don't know that we've seen, there is Caleb Russell, and again in 2nd. Oh, yep, Duvall's still 2nd, and Bollinger still 3rd. So it is still your top 3 in the same running order. Now, Baylor in that 4th place spot is a little ways behind these guys, but he has displaced Josh Toth, and Josh Toth is no longer on his rear wheel. So it looks like Baylor has been able to open up a gap. We'll see if we catch him here at the 6 mile marker when they come by and see exactly what that gap is, but he is solidly in that 4th place position now, whereas before it was an ongoing battle between him and Josh Toth.
Real quick, I want to talk a little bit about some things going on in amateur racing. We've gone through the top 5. We'll check in with our top 3 in the final lap coming up here in a few moments. A little bit anyway, but right now I just want to point out top amateur riders. We always like to look at the top non-XC1, 2, or 3 rider, and today we look at this. It's in the top 20s. Top 25 is Evan Earl, the 256 out of Blacksburg, South Carolina. Evan is leading that. He's got in 27th, 8th, 28th, 29th, and 30th place positions. He's got 4 250A riders back there. Ryder LeBlanc, Nicholas Cordana, Brody Johnson, and Logan Lowry that are all, Lowry, I guess, is an XC3 rider, but those other 3 are not far out of the hunt for a top overall amateur today as well. So that's going to be pretty good, a race in the race amongst the amateurs, and who's going to be the fastest right now. Evan Earl seems to be, and Evan's riding in the position kind of sort of that we saw Trevor Bollinger riding in when he first made his mark in GNCC right here at Steele Creek 6 or so years ago, whenever he began his tenure on the national schedule.
Yeah, it's a long road from where he's at to the top, but at the same time, he's made the first big step, which is, becoming a top amateur. Then, the next step, depending on, if he wants to ride a 2-stroke or a 4-stroke, he could go try out that XC3 Pro-Am class, which is a new stepping stone just a few years ago. Here we see Baylor. So he's come by the screen there, passing that pipe at 2 hours, 32 minutes, and 33 seconds. We'll see if we can catch Josh Toth on camera. If we pan back, he is, whatever the number is, he has broken away. There is Toth. So it's about 13 seconds back, because he was 33 and he was 46 to that same point. So about 13 seconds is the gap now from Stu Baylor back to Josh Toth. So Toth needing to really have a resurgence and kind of counterattack on Baylor if he wants to continue that battle over the 4th place spot. Otherwise, he's going to have to relegate himself to that 5th place spot. Now, they do have a pretty good gap back to Josh Strang. They're in the 6th place spot. But again, Strang is on the charge. Oh, look at this. Caleb Russell already coming the other direction now. They've gone out and done that whole section of track. So 1.5 miles ahead of Stu Baylor and Josh Toth. And right hot on his heels, it appears the running order remains the same. The 989 in 2nd and the 739 in 3rd. Those guys are just wheel-to-wheel battling it out. Now, when they come by this time, Rodney, they're going to see a sight that they've been probably wanting to see for quite some time, and that is a white flag waving.
I can can imagine they got to be pretty wiped out and pretty tired with the intensity at which they've been riding. And we've had that all weekend this weekend. We saw that yesterday in the ATV racing, starting at the 8 o'clock race with the youth riders, right on through last night's EMTB race, the electric mountain bike races. We got a chance to run the second round of that last night. Had a nice little turnout of that. We also had a great spectator crowd. We did the start line down on the BP Fuels Pro Row, and we line up all the riders there and start them from there. But the crowd, they were stacked 3 and 4 deep, 1,000 feet of spectators all the way down Pro Row as they started. And then, of course, there were fans all around the race. Of course, you could hear them cheering riders on as they would pedal by. And ironically, it's a being in the GNCC, we're so used to all the noise and the motorcycles and this, that, and the other. The racing is as intense, but there's no noise that's going on. It's kind of a different feeling and a different atmosphere. But I tell you, it is such a great atmosphere. And last night Charlie Mullins was able to take the win in the specialized EMTB GNCC round number 2, and I think that's his second win in a row, if I'm not mistaken. So he's obviously got the points lead in that. And Charlie said last night he's also, and I think he even said in Georgia, he's utilizing these GNCCs not only to make a mark and win a championship here, but he's training for the World Championships as well.
Yeah, his goal is to qualify and race the UCI World Championships, which I believe are in Canada this year.
Yep.
And the opportunity doesn't present itself that often. Here is Stu Baylor, your 4th place rider. He is trying and trying, but he has got a good long ways to make up on that top 3 battle. But still, as you said, I saw Stu this morning as well. He said he was under the weather, couldn't even pedal the track. So for him to be out there and in a 4th place position, that is a good points day for him given the circumstances. But yeah, Charlie doing the best he can to try and prepare himself for those World Championships, and this is a great way to cross-train while he's here for some other duties and business stuff as well, family business. And
I think another neat thing is former world champion Nat Ross, and he's a Hall of Famer bicyclist as well. He was out again last night. He was in Georgia. He had a heck of a race. They were battling for 3rd there last evening. So just good racing all around. I think the EMTB GNCC is going to be a new thing, and I think we're going to see those types of racing all across the off-road motorcycle racing world, because they fit hand in hand. There's no doubt about it. You wouldn't think. You really wouldn't think.
And I mean, I think we'll get to check out a little bit of the action from that here later in the show. We got some highlight reels from yesterday's EMTB, and as we dubbed it yesterday, kind of on the fly, the E-Pee-Wee race of the little electric bikes that raced yesterday evening, even after the EMTB race. And, one thing of all the different disciplines this weekend, that kind of the common thread throughout has been, you were talking about how these guys are just out there pushing it, and we talked about how it's a sprint, and, we talked about how rough this track is getting, and the fact these guys are going to run 3 hours and 6 minutes. I am really curious to see what the top 3 look like when they come off the track, because right now Russell, Bollinger, and Duvall are just laying it out on the line, all of it. They're giving everything in themselves, and the common thing, here we see, there's the leaders. It looks like Caleb Russell was leading. We just caught the tail end of him in that shot. There he is at the top. Thad Duvall in 2nd and Trevor Bollinger 3rd. These guys are just laying it out there. They're giving it everything. And right now at this point, 2 hours and 37 minutes into this thing, they're at roughly the 9-mile marker. There we go on screen. The 9-mile marker, exactly, apparently. And they've got about 1.5 miles to go to the finish line, where they will see a waving white flag, which means they have to circumnavigate this course one more time, wide open, at speed, battling each other against lappers, and an absolutely rough, lack of a better word, destroyed GNCC here at FMO
And we
Steel
mean
Creek.
that with the best connotation.
Absolutely, and the track crew will do a phenomenal job of preparing this track for next year.
Yeah, and the thing that we want to point out to people, whenever we say the track is gnarly, the track is rough, the track is this, those are the types of things that make good racetracks. We're not being negative about the conditions by no stretch of the imagination. When we say the word crazy, that's not a negative connotation. That is wow, we just can't believe what's going on. I know some people sometimes, but, that's the best way that we can describe it, I guess, sometimes when we talk about some of this stuff. And this is, it may not be, whatever word you use to describe it, it is just a great feeling to be able to be here, be able to witness this.
And when you talk about athletic competition, which is exactly what this is, we can say it's motorsports. Obviously it is. Even with the EMTB thing, it's sure there's an element of machine and mechanicality to it. But the fact is, this is an athletic achievement by athletes. And right now what we're seeing is throughout this weekend, maybe more so than any race we have, except for maybe Florida, the winners and the top finishers in these races as they come off the track are completely depleted physically and mentally. We've seen that throughout the weekend.
Yeah.
The one exception perhaps being Walker Fowler. I think yesterday, from what I saw, did not look too tired after the race. He had a fairly easy go of it. But, whether it be youth racers, EMTB racers, there is Stu Baylor talking about laying it all on the line.
Yeah.
Right here is where he blew his feet off the pegs 2 laps ago. So he's got a little more under control, using a different line this lap and trying to get around a lapper. But everybody is just absolutely exhausted when they come off this track. Yesterday after the race, the young up-and-comer Hunter Hart, he crossed the finish line. I was pretty close behind him, and he turned and looked back and I came across the finish line, and I could tell, he was just exhausted. And after the race, he came up and he said, I just don't understand what I need to do. He said, I'm done. I'm wasted. I feel like I was in a prize fight and I didn't win. And that's what this track does to people. I mean, these are top-tier athletes that train, have every benefit of technology, and everything they can do to get the best out of themselves and their machines, but they're absolutely tested by this FMF Steele Creek course.
Most certainly tested. That is a very good way to put that, Johnny. I believe that. Did you offer him any advice by any chance?
I did, actually, and I was honest. I've always tried to, Hunter beat me yesterday and has beat me all 3 races so far this year, but I still consider myself in some way a mentor. And I told him, I said, look, man, I said, you're putting out way too much energy to go fast early. You gotta be able to go the speed that you're going using about half the amount of energy early, because, we've seen him and a lot of riders, and maybe this is something I don't know, but maybe Ben Kelly needs to look at, because he absolutely shreds at the beginning of these races. Look at this.
Wow.
That ball tucked down on his tank for aerodynamics. Talk about getting every millisecond out of it. Wow.
Every bit counts. That's for sure. It all helps out. And I had a thought on my mind, and then all of a sudden I got it completely wiped out by seeing what we had going on there. But
and a white flag waving. That's what these guys are seeing.
One more lap to go for these guys.
Yeah, and efficiency. That's, I think, how you kind of get to that next level is...
Oh, yeah, I know what I was going to say. I wanted to congratulate you. Another good ride yesterday. Good, solid ride. I know you roll your eyes.
No,
but you had some good pushes yesterday, and we saw great gains out of you again yesterday. So good ride, man.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I know where I want to be, and I'm not quite there yet, but I'm happy to be making strides in the right direction. So I'll take the compliment, and coming from you, it means a lot. So, yeah.
I noticed.
We definitely are headed in the right direction, and maybe it's kind of strange at 41 to be talking about making progress. But the way I look at it is you're never too old to better yourself and better your situation. So keep grinding, and you see guys out like we talked about Corey Brutzek was brought up earlier, in our rider that a lot of people had written off, and now he's out there with another shot and giving it a very good effort. Ben Kelly, our XC2 Pro Lights leader, last check he was, I believe, over 3 minutes in the lead when we last saw him, over the second place of Johnny Gerard, the 969 Trail Jesters teammate of Ben Kelly. Yeah, these guys, man, just look at that track, Rodney. I mean, this is, we said tested, but maybe what would be a hybrid between testing and torturing? Because that's kind of what this track is doing to these guys right now. It's testing them physically, but torturing them mentally.
There you go. That's a good way to put that, too. Yeah, and I was just checking, welcoming back Lane Michael back to GNCC Racing. Saw him get off the line today. He did make 1 lap. I see that he has not made any more than 1 lap, so just wanted to point that out for the Lane Michael fans. Hopefully, that's just he's going to be able to get things dialed back in. So what's going on?
Stu Baylor looking down at his bike. Looks like there may be an issue on the left side, but we know he needs fuel.
Yeah.
So he was not happy with something he saw on the left of that machine, and probably not happy that he's got 1 more lap to go, because he looks like he's ready for this one to be over.
Well,
he has charged hard all day.
He looked like he was ready for this one to be over at 12 o'clock today when we did the interviews, and I'm not trying to pump things up for Stu, but I'll be honest with you, this right here, unbelievable ride. I mean, there's no words to describe. Whenever you see somebody, now he wasn't like running 105-degree temperature or anything like that, which would have obviously made things, but you could obviously tell he was not feeling well. He was under the weather, and and you could tell by the sound he couldn't breathe very well. I mean, there was a lot of, and to be able to pull this off, I mean, that's just amazing to me. I mean, utterly amazing.
These are the best motorcycle racers on the planet and some of the best athletes in the world. And to go out there at less than 100% physically and be able to put yourself in a position to battle with those guys and charge past, former XC2 champion Josh Toth, former GNCC champion Josh Strang, race winners, and the list goes on and on. Oh, look at this. Is this Bollinger again? It is.
Wow.
Trevor Bollinger stuck again on the Monster Mile hill climb. He is just struggling with that section of race course.
That same place, that very same line at the top of that hill is where we saw him do that just one lap ago, believe it or not. By the way, Stu Baylor's already checked in as well for a fourth place position. He has a now 23-second lead over Josh Toth. However, he is 2 minutes and 16 seconds out of a podium spot. But still, man, I mean, this may not be a win, but these are the times of the days, when they say championships are won. Not saying that Stu's going to, but hey, you never know the way things are going for him. He might be able to position himself for that. And this is a day that championships are won. This is how you do it.
Absolutely. You got to grind on your bad days. That's what they say. Ricky Carmichael's famous for saying that. Championships are won on your bad days. I'll tell you what, good day or bad day for Trevor Bollinger at the end of the day, whether he ends up coming out and winning this or if he finishes in that third place spot or even worse, potentially, who knows what could happen, or better, first, second, third, 50th. One thing is for sure, if he wins this thing and it's the greatest day of his career, he's still going to be upset at that one particular hill that it claimed him twice, because the hills of Morganton are good to Trevor Bollinger, but not that hill.
So right now, 2 hours, 44 minutes. Imagine that. They were... well, in reality, you think about it, they were 13 seconds, they said.
There they go the opposite way. We haven't seen that shot before. So there, the 2 mile marker. There is Caleb Russell and Thad Duvall in second. No Trevor Bollinger. There is Bollinger. So that fumble at the top of the hill did cost him a good 7-8 seconds there. So now he's got to twist the throttle one more time on that Rockstar Racing Husqvarna and try to close that gap.
Is he inspired, or is he the white lap just wanting to get through this one at this point? I mean, does he feel the inspirations, or does he just feel the I guess, what has taken place here today?
You want to know what I think? I think we'll find out in 20 minutes.
I think you're right.
There is Stu Baylor sideways, typical Baylor style, throttle to the stops, sideways, and let's see if he makes it up the Monster Mile hill climb unscathed. There he goes, up over the top. Look at that,
wow.
Lifting his legs up over the tank to get up that V'd out run.
Yeah,
that is a challenge.
That's getting deep through there then, evidently, whenever you start seeing riders do that. And then they're starting to choose alternate lines at the top of that hill now, too. So that is starting to show that it is beginning to wear quite a bit.
And that is Jordan Ashburn there. And I don't know if we've seen Josh Strang. We may have missed him off camera check in, because last we saw...
Josh checked in 7th behind Ben Kelly.
Yeah, so, and Ashburn's starting to run Strang back down. So they that's been kind of a battle back and forth, and awesome to have those guys back out here. The factory Kawasaki effort, but 3 races in, I can tell you right now, those guys are starting to wonder, what do we got to do to get a podium? Top 5s are nice, don't get me wrong. Well, I guess they're actually 7th and 8th right now. And top 10s are solid, but those guys that's a big effort with a big budget, and they want to be up battling for podiums.
You want me to tell you what you got to do these days to beat? You got to get scientific. Seriously.
All right, I'm listening.
No, I mean, it's all about the science of it now. It's all about the science of training.
Okay.
It's all about the science of the heart rate that we talked about earlier with Caleb and Thad. That's where it all lies. Honestly, the science of being able to tune your body to its optimal levels, whether it be nutritionally, whether it be being able to exert yourself physically or whatever. It's the science of it all. I mean, you look at it, the programs that those guys that are racing consistently in the top 5, each one of them have a very strict program that they follow.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely...
Are you doing that yet?
Sure.
Is it working?
It helps.
It does. And it's a science to it, is it not?
There is definitely a science to the preparation for racing, but there is no substitute
for heart.
And Bill Balance, an 9-time champion, once said,
guys back in the day before training, supplements were a big thing, and all these, you could take this pill and this stack and whatever else, and this will get you to the end of the race with full head of steam. And Bill Balance looked at me once and said, "They don't sell heart in a bottle, bud." And there's a lot of differences that we may have had over the years, but that was one of the true statements.
That's a great quote right there.
They don't sell heart in a bottle.
Can't sell heart in a bottle.
And those guys up front have heart in spades.
Well, is that Kelly going through there again?
Ben Kelly.
Kelly going through there, and as we watch this race and, look at this and, we see the conditions. We talk about the gnarliness of the track and this and that. And the one thing that you think about is the fact that, okay, you got that many riders out there. The safety issues of it, how safe is it? Well, inherently, motorcycle racing is a dangerous sport, but, the beautiful thing about it is that what we have, I think, some of the best technology available today as far as emergency medical services. Everywhere we go, we get great top-notch medical talent that comes out and assists in the event that we have an emergency. And on top of that, we also have a great mobile medical mule that we take to each and every event that has been provided to us by the Kirk Caselli Foundation that provides, a lot of different extras that help these EMTs in their job here at the GNCC. And of course, why do I need to have it? Let's take a look at the Kirk Caselli Foundation Mobile Medical Mule, and Tim Cotter telling us all about it.
Here we are in the first anniversary of the Caselli Foundation presenting a mule to GNCC racers and their families. So it was a year ago here at Morganton, North Carolina, that this vehicle came on the scene. And what a great vehicle it is for our GNCC racers and families. It is a vehicle that has consistency, that every race we go to in all the different communities, 13 in total around the eastern seaboard, the medical team is given this mule to be able to go out and take care of riders. Motorcycle racing is inherently dangerous. We can't make it safe, but we can be better prepared when things happen, and this mule has done that. It's equipped with an AED, a heart system. It is also equipped with the eject system, the helmet removal system that many of the riders use. It has a bladder in the top of the helmet, and it's used with CO2, and it lifts the helmet off the injured rider's head in the event that they may have a spinal injury and have to get that helmet taken off. So that's used worldwide, and it is on this mule, and the technicians that are operating this mule all have been trained with the videos so they know how to use this. And then new for this year, the Caselli Foundation has provided us with many of these first aid kits. The first aid kits will be on all of our team mules and our team vehicles from GNCC. They will also be at all of our checkpoints. And so that when things happen, and they will, at GNCC, that we're properly prepared. All the GNCC families and riders are indebted to the Caselli Foundation, and we are honored to be able to have this kind of equipment.
No doubt about it. Thanks a lot for Tim Cotter explaining that. Certainly a great addition to our emergency medical staffs everywhere we go across the GNCC Racing Nation. And again, like we say, we hope that you don't have to use that and utilize it, but at the same time, if it is needed, it is available. And, we were talking a few moments ago about Lane Michael and him making one lap. And the last couple of races, we've had the opportunity to work in the Racer TV booth with DQ David Quillen, which is Lane's mechanic, and Lane Michael's mechanic. And, of course, with that, we wonder what's going on. So what is going on, DQ, in the booth with us now?
Well, he was out running good, started the race good, and I guess he had a small get-off, and he had arm pump surgery a few weeks ago, and he got caught on something, and it kind of ripped the scar open, and he was kept going. He said he wasn't really feeling anything, and somebody stopped him. Was like, dude, your jersey is covered in blood. So he called it in, pulled in, and
safety. I'd seen 2 weeks ago. I actually had seen Lane after the Georgia round. Spent some time with him. He had it was still pretty fresh. So rip those. That's not a good thing. Hopefully he doesn't seem to be having any issues.
He was riding fine. That's the crazy thing.
Good,
but he's like,
good.
man, I can't keep going. It's
well, good. I'm glad that he chose to get off, get that blood stopped, get that healed up. He's got another 2 weeks.
Exactly. We got 2 weeks. Get healed up and hit it again and Camp Coker.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, you don't have a chance at the championship, but fortunately, that gives you guys an opportunity to go at this the right way.
Right, exactly, and that's the thing that we've talked about. Once, I mean, we thought we were like, all right, the first round was canceled, so we're like, maybe we got a chance at this, but now we're kind of just going for it and trying to get good finishes. And I mean, he was running up there. He got a bad start. He had passed Baylor. He was up in 5th, and then I saw him at the 3, gave him a water. He came through at the 3.5 or whatever at the checkpoint on the backside there, and he had dropped back behind all those guys again. So he said the crash had happened back there, and then I went down to the 4.5, and they told me he was headed back to the pits. So
well, I tell you, we certainly wish you all well, Lane. I know a speedy recovery. We want to see him back on the track, but at the same time, don't come back until you're 100%, man, because there's too much to lose and a lot more to gain.
You're exactly right. He's still young and has plenty of time left.
Amen on that. David, thanks for stopping in, DQ.
You're quite welcome. You're quite welcome. Thank you.
All righty, so that's the report on Lane Michael there, and we are due in now with our top 3 here at the 4.5 mile marker at the bridge with our leaders. And Caleb Russell, at last check, again, was leading. Thad Duvall, Trevor Bollinger, those 3. Now, Bollinger had dropped back just a little bit due to the incident, and there is your leader now. And that is Caleb Russell making his way in. Is that Thad still back there in the number 2 spot? I believe so. No, that's just a lapped rider. So there's some distance now, even more distance now between, it looks like, Caleb Russell and Thad Duvall. So we saw, I think, 8 seconds that opened up, but there is well more than 8 seconds. We're looking more at a 12 to 15 second range. Caleb Russell is in checkout Charlie mode at this particular point. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that Trevor Bollinger also making his way through as well. So, man, Caleb's really starting to check out here. Johnny Gallagher joining us back in booth now.
How in the world is every lap through that section right there, we have a major shakeup? It's like we put the top 3 in a blender, and then we hit mince.
Well, I don't know if the course leading up to this section of the racetrack has anything to do with it. It's one of those low-lying areas where the sand is and where we get that whooped out section going, and that might be part of it. I mean,
I think it's part of that, but also you also have to look at the fact that there is a big big up and down there with 2 valleys in between those 2 camera shots, and there's some lapped riders in there in the mix, and the slightest little miscue from a rider or a lapped rider getting in the mix can really change that pace. And when you're talking about the speed those guys are going versus the speed that the riders they're lapping are going, you can give or take 10 to 12 seconds in one little miscue.
Yeah, easy. It doesn't take much to see that happen, and we witness it all the time. And we scratch our head and wonder what happened, and a lot of times we figure that's what happened, and a lot of times that is exactly what happened. So Russell is through, Duvall is through, Bollinger is through. Did we see? No, we haven't seen Stu Baylor check through here yet. That would be your 4th place rider. He was a couple of minutes behind Bollinger in that 3rd place position whenever they came through the finish line a little bit ago. Saw him take another pit stop. Looked like, again, Johnny, we don't know if there was an issue, but he kept looking down like there might be an issue of some sorts.
He was looking at the left side of the bike, which would be potentially the shifter. So I don't know if maybe a shifter bent or, but he was looking down at it. He shook his head and then took off, and they didn't make any adjustments or any repairs. So whatever it is that's giving him fits or distracting him evidently isn't dramatic enough that they're going to try and fix it on the fly. So I think a lot of things going on there with Stu today. Again, kind of the under the weather, the not feeling 100%, the issues with the fuel consumption. But he's making the most of it and still be out there in the 4th place spot. I mean, that's like we talked about, Rodney. Those are maximum points on a day like today in a championship salvaging run. Look at this.
Yep. Caleb Russell did go through. This is the 6 mile marker, I believe. So Duvall and Bollinger going through now.
Did you notice how much harder Thad charged through that section than Trevor? I think Trevor possibly may have hit the wall.
That's what I was going to point out. Remember, you made that point at near the 3 hour mark. We're at 2 hours and 55 minutes right now, 57 minutes, almost 58. So we're at virtually that 3 hour mark. And those are exact words. What would the scenario be at this particular point? And I guess we're starting to see. Now, that may have been visually,
sure.
It might have been it might not have been exactly what we saw, but it's certainly starting to point in that direction. And again, we'll wait. We'll see more of it. And then again, maybe Trevor has reached that point where he says, I've gassed everything I can. If I push any harder at this particular point, I might end up wasting more than I gain.
Yeah, and again, there's so many variables, folks. Being the commentator and the color commentator, we can only point out what we see on screen. We try to bring observations, and we're looking at one section of racetrack, as you can see, about 100 feet long. Through there, Thad Duvall looked like he was charging. Trevor Bollinger, although only a few seconds behind him, did not appear to have the same intensity that Trevor Bollinger had, or that Thad Duvall had. So we're speculating and wondering if perhaps it may be something where Trevor is starting to run out of steam at this point, or it could be a thing like we've talked about so many times with Stu Baylor, where we'd see him where it looked like he was starting to slow down, and all he was doing was really firing up that diesel engine.
Exactly.
He was stoking it up, putting some coal in the fire, letting it get warm, and then he was going to turn on the blower. Yeah. So will Trevor Bollinger dig deep? And again, still very much within striking distance of a win here in his hometown race in Morganton, North Carolina. The hometown boy on the podium right now in the third place spot, but appearing to lose a little bit of ground to the leader, Caleb Russell, and second place, Thad Duvall at this point. We'll see him back here in a matter of just a few moments. Who will it be will we see first? Will there be a miraculous come from behind ride? And will we see the 739 machine pop out in first? And the local fans will go absolutely crazy.
This place would come unhinged. I don't know if we could handle it, to be honest with you.
I'll tell you what I want to see right now. We see the two factory teams here, the KTM and Husky team. They're there with the pit boards, and they're each waiting to give their guy a board. What if those two just got into it? Like, their riders are tussling on the track, and these guys start jockeying for position with the pit boards. We see elbows, all in good nature, of course.
Right.
We see elbows flying. They want to get the best spot for their rider to give the pit board, and they both think their guy's going to be first.
That probably happens, if truth be told. Hey, real quick, a quick look at the XC2 250 Pro Class. Big Kelly leading Jonathan Garrar. That gap is 3 minutes, 12 seconds. Witkowski now, minute 44, back in third.
Did we miss Caleb Russell?
Yes.
Here.
Oh, this is 7.5.
This last time. We'll have to check with our producer and see if we did, because if not, Thad Duvall is leading. Folks, Thad Duvall has taken over the lead. The 989 Rockstar Racing Husqvarna has taken the lead and has a few seconds over Caleb Russell. But what we saw on screen appears to be true, because where is Trevor Bollinger?
Man, that's big changes.
He has dropped way off. Look at this. He is struggling physically.
Yeah.
He is not able to really even stand up. He's still flying, don't get me wrong, but I think the gas has run out of the tank for Trevor Bollinger.
Yeah, and what's going on up front between Duvall and Caleb Russell, you got to wonder, a mistake being made, or if Thad is just feeling the inspiration from the win. We've talked about this so many times. This place has either been really good to Thad or it's been really bad to Thad. And
when do we see him next? That's the real question. We see him at the 9, I believe?
Yes.
7.5, and then we see him at the 9.
7.5.
We're going to see him at the Yama Climb, or Yama Hill, or whatever we're calling that. We'll see them there, and then obviously, again, we'll see them coming to the finish line will be the next time. Now, they will have to go through the pro pits one more time to get to the finish. So, folks, you might want to work your way over towards the finish line. Rodney, I'm going to let you take this part because you're better at it.
That's right. Yeah, definitely work your way over here to the finish line. We are, as we look at the clock right now, just moments away, and 5 minutes, 45 seconds till we see them at the checker flag. The Yama Hill is where we'll see them next on the TV screen. And real quick, Johnny, I know we got a lot of things going on, but we got a lot of riders out there on that track. So let me just give you a quick, brief idea of what's going on in some of these other classes. Keep an eye on the screen for me.
I will.
We'll bounce back and forth. Cody Barnes leading Jesse Ansley now up to second. Jason Thomas has dropped to third in that FMF XC3 class, a minute 49 seconds. So unless something happens, Barnes should have that one in the bag. But what a ride for Jesse today, huh? Looking now at the Open A class, Evan Earl, who is your top amateur at last check at 25th place overall, leading Landon Bruner, and Joshua Lee running in the number 3 spot. Looking next at the 258 class, Ryder LeBlanc leading Nicholas Cordana in second place. Brody Johnson is your third place position. The 208 class, Dylan Zimpel holding on to the lead in that one aboard the 929 with Zachary Davidson in second, and Max Fernandez holding on to the number 3 spot. 4-stroke A lights class, Travis Reynaud in the lead with Braxton McGee dropping to second. They switched around. It was the other way around. Tyler Soriano maintaining a solid third place position. Looking next in the junior AB 25-plus class, Andrew Matusik holding on to the lead in this one now. A 14-minute lead over Tyler Brunton, and Andrew Boggs in the number 3 spot. Looking next at the Vet A class, Sam Forrester's pretty much led this one from the drop of the green flag. A 3-minute and 12-second lead over Nathan Allring in second. Kyle Dengler from FMF rounding out the top 3. Senior A 40-plus class, Frank Messina, Smiling Frank out of Campbell Hill, New York, leading John Beaver and Jeremy Dexter as we roll into the final laps in the Senior A class. As we look at the Open B class, Peyton Harden out of Stamping, Kentucky, the 222, a 29-second lead over Justin Brazeau, who is running in second, and Craig Oberholzer rounds out your top 3 on the 511. As we look next to the 250B bike class, it's Dylan Gore in the lead with Garrick Orbister in second, and Jeffrey Snoffer rounds out your top 3. Looking at the 200B class, Tanner Collins, Trent Gaither, and Max Rust winning 1, 2, and 3. Not a lot of changes in that one either. Well, Collins got around, it looks like Gaither, and I think Benacci has dropped to the 4th place position, so a couple big changes in that one. 4-stroke B lights class, Tyler Palmer leading Hunter Cleveland, and that's by 7 minutes 43 seconds, and Andrew Van Atta is your 3rd place position. Vet B 30-plus class, Travis Beam, your leader, Rodrigo Damas in second. I believe they've switched around, and Scott Hyde up in third.
Here's our leader, 989. Thad Duvall in the lead. Caleb Russell hot on his heels. He's made up the gap. Thad did have a little bit of the gap when we saw him at the 7.5. Here they are at the 9, and they are wheel to wheel on the Yamahill. Wow. We'll next see them. This is torture. We'll next see them as they're coming through the final turns to the finish. Folks, if you're at home, pop a beverage, but sit down squarely on that couch. If you're driving, pull over to the side of the road. You do not want to miss this finish. It's a wheel-to-wheel battle right to the finish. Thad Duvall leading the way, Caleb Russell in second, and we should next see, there he is, Trevor Bollinger, the 739 machine, still charging hard, but you can see he has lost the draft. Oh, he is definitely not, just doesn't have that little extra something today, but wow, what a ride for Trevor Bollinger in that 3rd place spot, and really looked like today could be the day, but right now it looks like it's going to be a 2-horse shootout right to the finish.
And we've seen this one. It's you remember you mentioned the word deja vu, and here we are back to the deja vu of Thad Duvall and Caleb Russell running 1 and 2 up front here in the closing moments of this FMF Steele Creek GNCC.
Rodney, real quick, we talk about the most epic Steele Creek finish ever. Barry Hawk, Glenn Kearney, what if?
Oh,
what if it comes down to the final turn, and it happens again? Deja vu.
Deja vu. Will we see it, man? That's going to be. Man, I love what you're presenting. The idea that you're presenting right now.
These guys they're not even fighting to try and win the race. They're fighting because both of them want to outdo the best, craziest GNCC finish ever. That's what's happening right
That's
now.
what's in the back of
They're
their mind.
working together.
They're working together. They got this plan. Senior B, I got to do this is the last class of amateurs, but Igor Soares is still leading that. Jeff Galbraith in second. Mike Horwath rounds out your top 3, and now all attention back to the the XC1 pro class now at this FMF Steele Creek GNCC. We wait with bated breath 1 minute and 16 seconds. We should be seeing these guys come out into the field. They'll go down behind that 1,000-foot long pro section. Then they'll go through the 1,000-foot long pro section and finally reach the finish line. So we're talking about a half mile or so still left to go when we see these guys roll into these closing moments.
You're saying they're doing 1 minute and 16?
At the finish line,
then they're going to be popping out any second. This is about 1 minute from here to the finish line, so any second now we should be seeing the 989 of Thad Duvall or the number 1 FMF KTM of Caleb Russell, or both side by side. And these lappers have no idea what they're about to be in the middle of, because this is an absolute brawl. And
there they are. There they are.
Oh, no, did you see Caleb Russell completely sideways clip the stake? These guys are wheel to wheel. Thad Duvall leading the way, Caleb Russell hot on his heels.
Well, here we go through that FMF chicane now. Head down toward the backside of the VP Fuels Pro Row as these riders drag race to the final few turns now. Caleb Russell just a few feet off the back wheel, the 989 of Thad Duvall. Will Thad Duvall be able to make it 2 wins in a row here at Steele Creek GNCC? Will he master the mountains of North Carolina once again at Steele Creek? We're less than a minute from finding out. We're going to see these guys into the pro pits at any second now, coming out of that auxiliary pro pit section and then into the main pro pits. And here they come now. We see them head down and charging. There is Duvall. There is Caleb Russell now into the BP Fuels Pro Row for the final time. You can see everybody out cheering them on. Lap riders just ahead of them. Will they play a factor in this race? The crowd gathering around here at Steele Creek. It's a monumental race finish, and here it is. Thad Duvall will make it 2 years in a row at the FMF Steele Creek GNCC.
Wow, what a finish. Right down to the final turns.
Mercy sakes, that is the way that we want to see a race end. And even though it wasn't quite the bar banging that we saw in 2007, this has been an epic day of racing, no doubt about it. Johnny Gallagher, one of us has got to go down here to the podium. Let's take I guess we should probably...
Here's the hometown boy, Trevor Bollinger, bringing it in. The crowd going absolutely crazy. Trevor Bollinger on the podium. He is not going to be happy with this, but nonetheless, a great ride for him.
Wow, what a day. There it is, man, the face of victory and the face of not almost victory and the face of, wow, I had it. You know, I mean, these guys, they all three experienced those same emotions. The only one that comes out with the feeling of total accomplishment today is Thad Duvall. But I don't think any one of these riders can take anything away from this race and say they had a bad day. This was a monumental day of racing for all three of them, each one of them leading at some point in the race and each one of them in a position to win. But it came down to, look at this, 3 hours, 7 minutes, and 24 seconds. And I think that right there is the bottom line.
Absolutely. What a race, Rodney. Wheel to wheel the whole way. Those guys never could slip more than a piece of paper between them. We saw a few 4 or 5 second gaps. We did see Caleb able to pull out a little bit of a gap the one time, but Thad Duvall and Trevor Bollinger ran him back down. A great race for all these guys. A great race weekend here at the FMF Steele Creek GNCC. And that man obviously not happy, but when you've won as many races as he has, anything but first just feels like a bit of a disappointment. Rodney Tomlin going to move down and get ready to prepare to interview these guys, and I feel like these guys are going to have a lot to say. It was action-packed all day long, so many passes, so many battles, so many storylines there. We see Thad's young little boy Jacoby there and his wife Maggie celebrating, and there really is the disparity of GNCC racing. 3 hours, the same effort level, the same battle, decided literally by inches at the end. Thad Duvall absolutely ecstatic, Caleb Russell just frustrated and clearly not happy with the outcome of that one. And they're saying, yep, that was a lapped rider coming through there, and we thought it might have been Josh Toth for a moment, but we should be seeing Stu Baylor would be next. He would be our 4th place rider in XC1, followed by Josh Toth rounding out the top 5 if they remain the same, and then our leader, as we last knew it in XC2, was Ben Kelly. He had a pretty insurmountable lead in that XC2 Pro Lights class over the 2nd place of Johnny Gerard, and that battle will be continuing for that final, or 2nd and 3rd place podium spot. It was Evan Smith in the 3rd place spot, and there was about, wow. Actually, I guess there was quite a bit bigger gap than I thought. Oh, no, 4 seconds separating those guys at the end of 6 laps complete. So that'll be one to watch for sure. We know Stu Baylor had pulled a little bit away from Josh Toth, so we'll wait and see as they come across. We can see Caleb Russell explaining how that last lap went to his wife, Chandler, and team manager, Auntie Collinen. Looks like he's got a lot to say about things that happened and transpired on that last lap. We'll get the story from Rodney Tomlin, our man on the scene. He's headed down there now with a camera and a microphone. And we're going to get all the stories and all the storylines, as well as wrap up that XC3 battle when we come back after this word from our sponsors.
We are American Motorcyclists. We are members of the American Motorcyclist Association. Racers, fans, and crew. We come together for this sport we love, to race together, to grow together. We start young and not so young. We race motorcycles and ATVs. We become friends. We become family. We compete for weekend bragging rights and national championships. We make memories on the toughest off-road courses in the country and on the best motocross tracks in the world. Some of us aspire to the speed and poise of road racing or the fierce competitiveness of American flat track, and we honor our greatest champions in the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame. Through it all, we cheer, we win, and we lose. We are racing. We are the AMA. Race with us. Be part of the greatest sport in the world. Be an American motorcyclist. Join us today at www.amajoin.com/join-now.
Times 2, Erlen. Riding.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we always like to say, the victor goes the spoils of GNCC, the sweet, sweet spray of champagne. All right.
Folks, those were the highlights from yesterday's EMTB action with Charlie Mullins, the hot rod, former GNCC XC1 champion, taking the win for the second consecutive time. And a new addition to GNCC and a very welcomed one. He was just not long ago out there battling for wins, and the man out there battling for the win and getting it done today is down there with our man on the action. Rodney Tomlin is with our winner, Thad Duvall.
All right, thanks a lot, Johnny Gallagher. Down here in the winner's circle with Thad Duvall. 2 years in a row, man. This place, it's amazing. We've talked about it. We've seen you hauled out of here in an ambulance several different times. We saw you do great here, but finally you were able to start clicking off wins, man, and now it's 2 in a row here at Creek.
Yeah, it feels good. Yeah, 2 years in a row I was able to make the pass on the last lap. Just lucky. I knew there's a mud hole every year that gets super, super bad towards the end of the race, and I told my boss, I'm like, man, I'd really like to have somebody there. And then I went and looked at it, and it wasn't that bad. And then I went back this morning, and just, I don't know, I had a gut feeling that it would get really bad. So I cleaned out a line, it went up on the bank, and then bypassed the mud hole. And lucky enough, I came the last lap, and I seen Caleb Berry, and I just went up on the bank where my line was and went right back down. So it worked out awesome. I'm glad I went there and found a line. So it's just one of those things where you just kind of learn over the years the bad spots and just go from there. And, you know, it was super hard to get away from the group. The lappers were really bad today, and it's just really hard to get out of the way here. So, you know, I knew once me, Trevor, and Caleb broke away a little bit, we kind of would run the lappers quick. So, you know, then I think the last 2 laps, man, the intensity like tripled. So it was full on out the last lap for me. You know, I crashed like the 3-mile marker, just fell over, connected with a lapper, and you know, Trevor actually got by me, and you know, luckily I got back by him, and I just put my head down, charged, and was able to get around Caleb and take the win. Yeah, it feels super good after today.
Oh, I can only imagine, man. And with that, I mean, and especially with the intensity of the battle, you said it intensified 3 times over the last 2 laps. I mean, I can't imagine that. I mean, because from the word go, when you guys went around that second turn and headed into that first wood section, that's basically what we saw all day long, was that kind of intensity, it seemed like.
Yeah, you know, it was fun just keying off each other, the 3 of us, the whole whole race, really. And, yeah, you know, Trevor was riding really good. He kind of got out front and set the pace a couple times, and I got out front and set the pace. And then I seen Caleb's body language change a good bit, and he put the hammer down. So I said, all right, it's time to go. So just, yeah, it was super fun, clean racing, and just, finally to get a win this year feels good. I worked so hard for this, and to get third the last 2 races is just not where I want to be. And just regroup and had some fun and just kind of relaxed on the pressure a little bit to win. Just wanted to go have fun, and that's what we did today and got the win.
Well, from all of us here in the GNCC Racing Nation today, man, thank you for a great show.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, guys.
All right, there you have it. Thad Duvall talking about how he was able to get the job done today. And it sounds like it was a little bit of a premonition. He was looking around when he was walking the track and saw a section of track he said that he knew had gotten bad in the past, and there was an outside chance it might get bad on the last lap or towards the end of the race here today. He thought ahead, went out, made a line, said he sent the crew out to check it out and make sure it was good. And when it came down to it on the last lap, sounds like that was the deciding factor. Showing a new maturity and a newfound discipline, Thad Duvall goes out, and he's able to get the win today, grabbing the top spot over Caleb Russell and hometown boy Trevor Bollinger. I think we'll be getting a word with both Bollinger and Caleb Russell as soon as we can. And we do have it sounds like we have Caleb Russell and Rodney Tomlin ready down at the finish line.
All righty, thanks a lot again, Johnny, as we're down here with Caleb Russell. And I tell you, Caleb, what a race day today. And I'm just going to leave it at that. That was a race to watch.
Yeah, it was good. I was just biding my time there at the beginning. I knew Trevor was going to be there and Thad was going to be there. And I was just kind of figuring out where I was better and where they were better, and kind of got it figured out. And then I realized, then I got the word it was going to be a 7-lap race, and I was like, this is going to be, pretty grueling now. So I was just kind of kept my pace up, and I gapped them there on this side. I was really good, and just kind of wore them down over there. And then over here, it is what it is. I mean, you can't get around the guys. It's bicycle track over there. So, I mean, there's nowhere to go. But just get caught up, and they catch back in, and do it again, pull back away. And there on the last lap, I had pulled out about 20 seconds, pretty much on cruise control, come around the turn. I knew it was kind of going to be bad, but, man, there's guys just sitting in the track. I mean, what can I say? It is what it is, but, those guys, they're not real good at committing to the rut. When they choose one, they just come in, they sit there, and then they're stuck. So, I mean, it was one of those things. I just picked a bad line, and trying to get around a guy, and I got hung up. And then by the time Thad got there, the guy that was kind of in front of me was a little bit gone, and some guys helped me out. I really appreciate it, because that would have been tough to get my bike out of the hole I was in, because there's a bike in front of me and I was behind it, and it was just frustrating. And Thad pulled out on me again there, and I didn't think I was going to be able to catch him, but like I said, I was just really good on that side and still motored away, so I gave it a good effort, and I caught back up, and I just nowhere to get the job done. I couldn't make a pass, couldn't make a move. It was really slick here in these last few turns, and a guy kind of blocked me off there in the second to last one, but I wouldn't have got him anyways. It is what it is. But yeah, he rode good, and got lucky again. Guy stopped in front of me last year, and a mud hole pops up this year, and just can't catch a break at this track in the last couple of years. So, like I said, it was a great race, and I'm happy with how I rode. It just didn't work out, and go back to the drawing board.
All right, man. I'll say the same thing I said to Thad. Man, thanks again for such a great show today. You really put on a good one.
Thanks.
Caleb Russell.
Well, and there you have it. That was two perspectives of the same race. Thad Duvall obviously very happy with the way things turned out. Had gone out, found what he felt could be the winning line, which ended up getting him through the mud hole just a little bit quicker, allowing him to close up the gap and make the pass on Caleb Russell. Caleb Russell frustrated with the way things turned out, but again, both of those guys laid it all on the line, put on a really hard charge for 3 hours and 7 minutes and 24 seconds was the winning time for Thad Duvall. Now, we do have the hometown boy, Trevor Bollinger, with Rodney Tomlin. We'll get to hear his take on the day.
That's right, down here with Trevor Bollinger, who, wow, man, put on a show for the hometown crowd. We got the Intimidator of Morganton, North Carolina, Burke County Intimidator, I guess is what they're calling you now, huh?
Yeah, that's what Timmy's joke is to me now. But, yeah, it was a great race. I wanted to be up front with those guys, and we did it all race. Kind of got tangled up with some lappers there the last lap, and just lost the side of the lead, and it's a bummer, but the lappers were tough out there. I don't know how Caleb's so good at getting around them, but yeah, other than that, we rode good, and I don't feel like we were too far off the pace, and yeah, it was a good day.
It wasn't the win that you were hoping for by no stretch of the imagination, but I have to think, even with the great rides that we've seen out of you this year, late last year even, that this might have been the best one for you so far, that maybe you've learned the most and maybe give you the most inspiration for the races to come.
No, it wasn't a win, but I didn't feel as good here as I did at Georgia. And, I could run the pace, but I wasn't, like in Georgia, I felt like, I could win a lot faster. So, yeah, for how I felt, I'm super pumped with how we did today. And, yeah, looking forward to fighting with these boys again in 2 weeks.
I believe you're going to do it, man. I think it's going to become a three-way shootout, four-way shootout if Stu can get up there. It's going to get real intense this year, that's for sure. And I think we're going to see a lot more opportunities for you, Trevor. But, man, congratulations to you. And I know this hometown crowd really love and seeing what you're doing. So I want to say the same thing that I said to those guys. Thanks for the show today, bro.
No problem. Thank you. And thanks to all my fans and Rockstar Husqvarna, Scott Goggles, CD Boots, and everyone who helps the team out. Thank you.
All righty. Trevor Bollinger, back to you, Johnny.
Well, there you go, folks. Trevor Bollinger weighing in. That is how the day unfolded for him. We weren't sure exactly what had happened in the final miles of that last lap. Didn't know if perhaps he'd run out of a little bit of fuel physically there, but it turns out that is not the case. He had some issues, some run-ins, tangled with some lappers, and it took the momentum out of his sails, took the wind away from him, and possibly took away his shot at making that a three-rider duel during those last few corners there to the finish. But a great ride for Trevor Bollinger. The hometown fans certainly proud of him, and they'll be celebrating on the podium here in just a matter of a few minutes. We'll run down our top 10 here overall as they all checked in with 7 laps complete. Thad Duvall, obviously our winner. Caleb Russell second. Trevor Bollinger third. Stu Baylor did check in to round out the top 4, and Josh Toth fifth there. So those are the top 5 and the top 5 in XC1 Pro. 6th place overall is your XC2 Pro Lights winner, Benjamin Kelly. Jordan Ashburn would be 6th in Pro and 7th overall. Josh Strang, 7th place in XC1 and 8th overall. Johnny Gerard, the other Johnny G, 9th overall and 2nd in that XC2 Pro Lights class. Mike Witkowski rounding out your top 10 on that factory beta. Witkowski in a podium position all day, battling it out and able to get across the line ahead of Evan Smith, edging him out by 1 minute and 23 seconds for that final podium spot. Evan Smith, the last rider checked in with 7 laps complete as of now, is 11th overall. So your top 11 overall are checked in, and that rounds out the podium in that XC2 Pro Lights class. We do have our winner of the XC2 Pro Lights class, and here he is with Rodney Tomlin.
All right, thanks a lot again, Johnny, down here with Ben Kelly, the winner of the XC2 Pro Lights class. And, Ben, I tell you, man, another phenomenal day for you. We saw you right off the bat. You did exactly what you wanted to do. You got out front in that XC2 class and started laying down some laps.
I know. I'm super pumped to get the whole shot. Really stoked on that. I had one last year, and then, just stoked to get that. And then, just ran clean laps that whole way, just tried to charge and put a gap on the rest of the XC2 field, and I was able to do that. So I just kept my head down. Track was awesome. It was so fun going up and down the mountain, but it got rough and challenging. So, just had a smooth race, a few little crashes, but stoked to get another win.
I'll tell you what, it was a good win, an impressive ride. Again, at one point you were 10 seconds out of the overall, back in 5th place position, and that was after that first lap. And we were watching. We didn't know if you were going to be able to make that happen or if that's what you were going for today or not. But, man, phenomenal ride regardless. You put down some good laps and got some great experience here.
Yeah, the fact that I was able to get the whole shot and get a good gap, I just put my head down and tried my best to run up into the XC1 guys as best I could and go for that overall podium. But, I felt really good the whole time, but those guys were just on another level. I could see them, how I was close to them, but then every lap they would inch, a couple seconds here and there, and just they just laid it down. So I did the best I could, and, just happy to get another win in the XC2 class.
Well, congratulations to you for that, man.
Thanks.
Well, there you go. Ben Kelly letting us know how things unfolded for him. That great charge he had early, and he absolutely was flying out there within 10 seconds of the overall lead on the first lap, and what a good first lap he had. He hung in there in the top 5 throughout the first couple laps, rounding out the day in 6th place overall and winning that XC2 Pro Lights class. And as he said, for the championship and for the goal, that is what he needs to do. He needs to focus on those wins. Obviously, if the opportunity presents itself for an overall podium, he's certainly not going to let it go, but he did the job that he needed to do today. And our second place rider in that XC2 Pro Lights, Johnny Gerard, don't know if we'll get an opportunity to get a word with him. He has checked in and come across the line. Don't know if he's down there and if we're going to get his take on exactly how things unfolded for him today. But we are still waiting on the XC3 Pro-Am class. Those guys have not checked in. We do not know who is going to be.
Oh, Cody Barnes has crossed the finish line. Cody Barnes taking the win in the XC3 Pro-Am class. So there is the winner of that one. 7 laps complete. He is the only rider with 7 laps complete. There we see these guys are taking a seat after a well-deserved day of hard work. Thad Duvall getting himself a drink and we're trying to get a word with Cody Barnes, the winner of our XC3 Pro-Am class. He has just crossed the finish line, so we're giving him an opportunity to maybe catch his breath a little bit, get his helmet off, and we'll see how he can explain what it's like to ride the hills, the demanding, power-robbing hills of Morganton, North Carolina at this FMF Steele Creek on a little 125 machine, less than half of the CCs of virtually all of the rest of the machines out there, but these guys were able to do it and did so. And we're not going to be able to get a word with Cody. He went back to his pits probably to prepare himself for a podium and potentially rest himself a little bit after a job well done, finishing up in the 16th place overall. So inside the top 20 overall from that XC2 Pro-Am class. Looks like Jesse Ansley has now crossed the finish line in 2nd place in that XC3 Pro Lights class. 2 minutes and 3 seconds behind Cody Barnes. Jason Thomas not across the line yet, but last we knew he was rounding out the podium in that XC3 Pro-Am class, and we'll get a chance to talk to those guys here when they cross the finish line and get up on the podium in just a few minutes. With that rounds out the coverage here on Racer TV Live from the FMF Steele Creek GNCC. An epic day of battles, an epic day of racing. And on behalf of everyone here from Racer TV, our executive producer, Kerry Russell, producer Adam Gordon, everybody else you see on screen, and everybody that makes it happen, a fine job by all this weekend. Great coverage. We were able to get so many camera shots and keep you guys just dialed into the action. And what a bunch of action the riders provided for us. On behalf of myself, Rodney Tomlin, Grant Baylor, and Ricky Russell, who are in the booth helping us out, and everybody else who makes it happen, good day and safe travels.